Hello, gamers. You're listening to the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. This is episode number 119.
Yeah!
And welcome back to another edition of the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. I'm Brent Felsing, and joining me tonight, Bender Holt and Ben Boyce. Gentlemen, E3 has come and gone. We covered all 5 of the major press conferences. It was a very hectic week, but we absolutely love doing it. It's always a good time watching the live streams together, the press conferences, seeing all the reveals together, and just listening to Bender lose his shit over 2 announcements this week was fantastic. So, guys, it's good to see you guys again. We had a couple days off. We just kind of chilled, laid low. How you guys doing today?
Good, man.
Good.
Yeah? Awesome. Well, we have a jam-packed show, so we're going to get right to the new releases and then get to our E3 breakdown. Go ahead, Mr. Boyce.
All right, Brent, we are going to fly through these new releases because obviously E3, gigantic show, a lot of stuff to discuss. So let's breeze to this. We'll start on the PlayStation side of things. A couple of notes here, some games that are out right now. Cars 3, Driven to Win. The Avalanche developed the game, actually, based on the new Cars movie, out now on both the PS4 and PS3. Iron Sea Defenders is available now. Le Tour de France 2017. And Pixel Heroes, Bite and Magic, the roguelike RPG. Those are all available now as well. As far as what's coming this week, the big game, in my humble opinion, is Nex Machina. This is the next game from Housemarque, one of my absolute favorite developers in the world. I'm pretty much addicted to every game they've ever put out. So the fact that we're getting another one this week, I'm super pumped to get my hands on this. This is a collaboration between Housemarque and Eugene Jarvis, the mind behind stuff like Smash TV. So it's got that kind of influence in its kind of aesthetic feel and gameplay, but it's got that Housemarque touch to it. Just the balls to the wall action, the dashing mechanics, the kind of sci-fi feel, the bright, vibrant gameplay, the just second to none twin stick mechanics. I absolutely can't wait to play this game, man. Been pumped for it ever since it was announced. Was excited when I found out it was coming out early this summer. So I'm rip roaring and ready to go. Brent, you picking up next this week?
I think I'm going to. I'm still up in the air right now, but it's a beautiful looking game. Obviously, it's Housemarque. You know it's going to be a good time. Kind of disappointed we don't have any kind of online co-op because I think this would be a real fun game for us to play. We could always try share play, but I think this is something I would just like to see it built in because we're used to that from a Housemarque game. But nonetheless, this game looks gorgeous. I'm sure it'll be a blast to play. I'll be actually looking forward to see you stream this on Monday night.
Yeah. We were fortunate enough to have access to the game just before launch, and we'll be running a very special stream of Nex Machina Monday night on our YouTube channel, Short Pause Gaming on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe on there. Check it out. We'll be going live that evening. Can't wait to play it on there and check it out. Really, really looking forward to this game. All right, the rest of the stuff that's coming out this week. The next expansion in A Realm Reborn, Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn Stormblood, making its way out this week alongside the Online Complete Edition, which is a great deal for $50-$60. You get the entire Final Fantasy XIV saga in one package. So that's the base game plus Heaven's Ward plus Stormblood, which is a $40 expansion in and of itself. That's a fantastic deal if you've yet to hop onto A Realm Reborn. Just a stellar game. You know, one of the best MMOs out there, bar none. Brent, where you at on Stormblood right now, man? You jumping back in? You going down the rabbit hole?
I have it pre-ordered. I don't know if I'll get to it this week, but I definitely will be checking out Stormblood here in the near future.
Gotcha. So new classes, obviously new area, new story content. These are massive expansions when they come out, and Stormblood is going to be no less. So looks great. So look forward to that if you're a Final Fantasy fan this week. Get Even is coming out this week on Friday. Obviously, there was the very unfortunate event in Manchester, the terrorist attack in the UK there, which the Get Even developers decided to hold the game back for a month because of that. So we are coming a month later now. The game's coming out this Friday. So, I know Frankie's been really looking forward to this one, so people can finally get a chance to get their hands on this psychological first-person shoot. I'm curious to see what this one's all about. Mm-hmm. Dead by Daylight is coming out this week. Now, Brent, I'm looking at this game, and literally it looks like the exact same game as Friday the 13th.
It is.
Like,
It's the
like
same type
literally.
of game. It's the same type of game.
I mean, like literally the exact same game. I can see no difference in the way these games are played. So, strange that I know this one's been out for a while on the PC. I don't know if it's an early access thing or whatever, and maybe this is the official release. But yeah, literally looks exactly the same. You've got a killer. You've got a bunch of people trying to survive. So if that's your thing, maybe check this out. Dungeon Defenders 2 will have its official release this week. God Wars Future Past is a tactical RPG coming to PlayStation. Cryptarch. This has nothing to do with Destiny. This is a side-scrolling 2D spaceship shooter game. So that's coming out this week. That actually looks cool. MXGP3, the motocross game, will be out this week. Chess Ultra is coming to the platform alongside Micro Machines World Series, which is a Friday release. Chess Ultra comes out on Wednesday. The Micro Machines game actually developed by Codemasters, so the masters of rally racing games. So that
really?
one might actually be kind of cool. On the PSVR side of things, Chess Ultra is coming out this week over there as well on Wednesday. And on the Vita, God Wars Future Past will be a part of the platform this week. On the Xbox One, a couple things that are available right now. Prison Architect, the Psych Ward, and All Day and a Night DLC are both available now. Cars 3's on there now. Air Missions HIND is available now. Air Guitar Warrior, the Gamepad Edition. So if you've been jonesing for this game and it was Kinect only, you can get your hands on a gamepad and play it now. Arcade Archives Neo Geo Magical Drop 2, that's available now. Le Tour de France 2017 is available now. And Outbreak is available now on the platform. Coming this week, Dead by Daylight, Dungeon Defenders 2, MXGP3, Super Bomb Rush is a puzzle game that's coming out on Wednesday. Broken Age, the well-loved Double Fine game, will be out on Friday over on that platform. Bender, that's a good joint for people to pick up, right?
Oh yeah, if you like point-and-click adventure games, it's a really cool time.
Yeah, so that'll be out there. Get Even's a Friday release on the platform. Grim Legends 2, Song of the Dark Swan, the latest Artifacts Mundi hidden object joint. That's a Friday release. Chess Ultra's out there on Friday alongside the Micro Machines game. And one note on the DLC front, Dead Rising 4 Super Ultra Dead Rising 4 Mini Golf, the DLC that many of us have just been waiting for with bated breath, will be available this week on Tuesday. On the Nintendo side of things, what we missed last week for the Switch, Cars 3's on there. Mighty Gun Volt Burst, I need to pick this up. This is available now for $9.99. I totally didn't realize this came out last week. Arcade Archives Neo Geo Sengoku is available on there now. And how about this? As of yesterday, ARMS, available now on the platform. The first DLC character's been unveiled. It's the first boss in the game, so you'll be able to download that. I believe it's a free download. Bender, did you pick this up? Are you planning to pick this up?
I did not. I probably won't. It just doesn't appeal to me enough for me to plop down the money for it. Maybe later when it gets discounted, if it ever does.
Yeah,
I might pick it up.
Yeah, I'm with you. Not appealing much to me as well. Although it has reviewed pretty well. This week on the Switch, Cave Story Plus will be out on the platform if you've been looking for that one. On the Wii U last week, Cars 3, Driven to Win, and Mutant Alien, Moles of the Dead. Whack, whack, die or something is the slogan on that. So those are available now. On the 3DS last week, I Am an Air Traffic Controller Airport Hero Osaka Kicks, the latest in that transportation simulation saga, is on the eShop now. This week, lots of titles coming to the 3DS Bender, led by none other than Ever Oasis, the long bandied about RPG. It's coming out this Friday on the platform. This is one you're excited about. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it and why you're excited for it?
Yeah, it looks like a pretty interesting game. It looks like a kind of a mix between Zelda and Animal Crossing, where you've got a town that you're building up, and you have to go out and explore. So you're exploring dungeons and fighting enemies to get loot. And then you bring that loot back to the town and use it to build up your oasis or whatever. And you have vendors and other townspeople who come to live there as well. So it sounds like an interesting combination of two genres. So I'm intrigued by it. So I'll probably be picking this one up.
Cool. So that's Ever Oasis once again Friday. June 23rd, the release on that. And then Bender, a game you enjoyed on the Wii U, Runbow, making its way over to 3DS now in the Pocket Edition. Well, this one's only available for the new Nintendo 3DS, so keep that in mind if you're looking to pick this up. There's a deluxe edition available as well, which includes the DLC. You grabbing this on the 3DS as well?
I think I might be. Yeah, Runbow is a really fun multiplayer game. I think it was up to 9 players on the Wii U.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and so yeah, it's like it's got several modes, but the main mode is like a racing mode where you're running through these levels. It's platforming, side-scrolling platforming, but the background changes color, and anytime the background changes color, any platforms of that color will disappear. You can only if you don't see a platform, it doesn't exist. So you have to keep kind of change up your jumps on the fly as the background changes colors. It's really interesting and cool. So I definitely encourage people to pick it up if they haven't tried it already.
Cool. Right on. So that'll be available this Tuesday. River City Knights of Justice is on the eShop this week for $15. RPG Maker Player is a free download. I believe this is what you're going to use to share your RPG Maker creations when the game comes out next week. So that'll be out on Thursday if you want to pick that up early. And then Fire Emblem Echoes, the Shadows of Valentia, the Cypher Companions Pack DLC is available this week. So that game chugging on with its DLC. That's on there now for $5.99. That's it, Brent.
Whoa.
Take it away.
Man, you weren't kidding. That's the fastest new release ever. That's the fastest new release list ever. Good job, Mr. Boyce.
Got much to discuss.
We do. So what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of go down through each press conference. We're going to go through Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo and kind of talk about everything that we saw in there. I mean, obviously a lot of the stuff that we covered is already in the videos that you can find on our YouTube channel or on our website. But we're going to talk about some of the other things that might have slipped under the radar or was talked about after the press conferences were over. So we're going to talk about those, and that's what we're going to get into first. We're going to start first with Microsoft. Obviously, this was their big show where they finally revealed the Xbox One X, formerly known as Xbox Scorpio. We got a release date. We got a price. They basically confirmed all the specs that they talked about before and that were leaked before that. But let's talk about this real quick, guys. $499 price. Boyce, what's your thoughts on that, man?
You know, Brent, my thoughts on the price largely remain the same. I think $499 is a good price for the machine and the specs that they put in front of us, at least. Mm-hmm. You know, the stuff that they said is under the hood of this thing. $499 seems like a fair price for it. The problem, or not the problem, but the interesting thing to watch moving forward now is how everybody else responds to that price, like how the buying public now responds to that price. Mm-hmm. And I've said it before, but never has a machine come out above $399 and been able to see any kind of success from a sales standpoint, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, I don't know what Microsoft's ultimate goal is with this. If they're just, you know, if they're happy, if they can just get people that already have an Xbox One to upgrade to an Xbox One X, if that's the ultimate goal with this, or if they really are trying to pull in a new crowd, or maybe they just want to change the narrative around their system being underpowered when compared to Sony's machine. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know what their ultimate goal is with this machine. I've got to catch up on some of the interviews and stuff Phil's been giving this week. I got to imagine some people have asked him about that. But depending on what their ultimate goal is for this, you know, maybe this is going to do the job. But at $499, I don't know that this is going to gain any significant traction in the market or make a significant, you know, or have significant market penetration at this price point. It's just looking back historically, it just hasn't happened at $499, and you know, I don't know that it's going to happen here as well.
Hmm. Bender, what do you think, man? You gonna go out and grab an Xbox One X?
Not anytime soon. I'm happy with my Xbox. I don't have a 4K TV, and it's going to be a while before I get one. Eventually, I could see myself possibly getting one if I want to upgrade, but I don't know. It seems like this is marketed more towards like the hardest core of the hardcore gamers who really want the best of the best as far as consoles, and I guess don't want to bother with building up a high-end PC. Mm-hmm. So it seems like as far as, you know, high-end 4K options, I mean, it's an affordable option for people to play games that way. But for right now, where I am at right now, it's not for me. Maybe eventually, but you know, it's cool though. I think it's a cool box. Mm-hmm. I like it.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I think the $499 price is totally fair considering everything that's inside of it. And during the stream and afterwards, I mean, I was like, yeah, I'm going to get an Xbox One X. I want to get it. I'm a tech whore. I want the latest and greatest. I want this system. It's going to be a beast. And then we got to talking about all these games that are coming out this fall, and I'm kind of in a tough spot because, Ben, you made a good point. I mean, look, I have an Xbox One S. The thing works great. I can play all my games on it. I can play games with my friends on the Xbox One S, even if they're on the Xbox One X. But here's my dilemma. Okay, we've got a lot of games coming out this fall, a ton of games. $500 goes a long ways to buying these games that are coming out. And then you brought up another point. The other games that I want that are, I'm more interested in seeing how first-party stuff looks than third-party stuff because, honestly, seeing something that's either checkerboard 4K or regular 4K, I can't really tell the difference. It's not that discernible where you're like, oh, my God, native 4K is so much better than checkerboard 4K. I can't see it. And, I mean, it doesn't bother me that one has it and one doesn't. I mean, I'm seeing something that's better than 1080p on my 4K display. That's all I really need. But here's my issue, and you brought it up, is the games that are first-party games that are coming out, the ones that will showcase what the X can do, the State of Decay to if I were to get that, Forza 7 or Sea of Thieves, these games are all on Play Anywhere. So I could easily fire these games up on my PC and get the max settings and be totally fine and see how good it looks. So my dilemma is I still want to get an X. I just don't know if I'm going to get one this fall. I might wait until after the holidays when I get some Christmas money and whatnot from family and whatnot. So it's just it's hard to commit $500 right in the middle of the fall. It's very, very difficult. If I can make it happen, I will. But as of right now, it's hard to commit to that.
Yeah, Brent, I told you that the Xbox One X is basically the equivalent of 10 games. If you factor in like Gamers Club or Amazon Prime, however you buy your games, with that discount, it's really 10 games that you're sacrificing to purchase a machine that I don't even know if you really need, man. So it's like you have an Xbox One that plays games, and to me that's the dilemma for Microsoft at this point is their whole thing about the Xbox One X has been, hey, this is a true 4K experience. Like that's their tagline, right? Like we mused that we should have played the drinking game during their E3 conference, where every time they said true 4K, you take a chug. If we'd have had the steel reserves on standby, we could have played the game and just drank steel reserves until we wanted to shoot ourselves. But that's the dilemma at this point. And then when you see stuff like Anthem for instance. And Digital Foundry jumps in there and they're like, this is a checkerboard 4K game. Assassin's Creed is a checkerboard 4K game. So how much different is that game going to look from the PS4 Pro's version of the game, which is a machine that's $100 cheaper? So the messaging behind this is true 4K, but it looks like these third-party games at least are going to be the same 4K. So really, it's going to be about the first-party games that are going to take advantage of this true 4K moniker, right? So the Forzas, the Sea of Thieves, the Crackdowns, that kind of stuff. But for me, I didn't see a compelling enough presentation from that first party lineup to make me even consider wanting to hop into an Xbox One X at that price point just to experience the true 4K experience. I didn't see the games there to back that up.
Mm-hmm. No, I feel you. Now, there's going to be a lot of games that will be getting free 4K updates for the Xbox One, 30-plus games to be exact. Games like Gears of War 4, Forza Horizon 3, Killer Instinct, Halo Wars 2, Minecraft, from the first-party studios, and then third-party games like Final Fantasy 15, Resident Evil 7, Ghost Recon Wildlands, and even Rocket League will get Xbox One X support. So, I mean, a lot of these games that have been out for a while, they're going to get the support. We even found out that The Witcher 3, which before Xbox One X was announced, CD Projekt Red said that there was no plans for any kind of an update for the Pro. Now there's going to be an update for the Xbox One X and the PlayStation 4 Pro for The Witcher 3. So we might hear more games as we get closer to launch, games that are going to support that. And I got to believe any game that gets Xbox One X support that doesn't have Pro support will get Pro support in the process because why not? So I think we'll see this list grow as we get closer to launch. But one thing I want to talk about, you guys, real quick, and this is really strange. When they announced the Xbox One Xbox Scorpio, one of the key talking points was VR. They're delivering a premium VR experience. But we've had some mixed messaging this week, Ben. First, we had Mike
Shocking.
Nichols. Yeah, Mike Nichols was talking to the Wall Street Journal, and he said, basically what he summed up was that VR is not in the plans for the Xbox One X at this time. It's more suited and a much better experience on PC. Which when I read that, I was like, okay, I just disagree with that. Having played PlayStation VR, I can tell you that VR is possible on consoles. And if VR is very fun and entertaining on a PlayStation 4 Pro, I got to believe the Xbox One X is more than capable of delivering a premium VR experience. I have to believe that. So that's why I didn't buy him to Mike Nichols' comments. But then Phil Spencer came out and kind of said, no, it's still in the works. It's still part of the plan. It's just not something they're jumping into right now. But it's just very strange how they had, again, just mixed messaging, which has always been kind of the Achilles heel for Microsoft at E3 press conferences, just mixed messages. I think they need to do a better job at unifying their notes, their memos, and get everybody on the same page, because it was just a bit of a confusion this week, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, man, it's kind of a broken record with Microsoft and their press conferences over the past few years. Like, we come out of these things, and then, really since Matrix unveiling of the Xbox One, we've been talking about this, the mixed messaging of between what the execs or whoever is saying at a press conference and what's being said afterwards. So the reality is, man, if VR was a focus for them and if it was still in the plans, like, we would have seen it by now. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a mid-generation refresh. So if VR is not ready at this point, like, there's no point of even getting VR ready for the machine. By the time it's ready, you'll be on to the next machine, right? Mm-hmm. So we're in the middle of a console cycle right now. If they haven't introduced VR or started bringing VR to the forefront for the platform now, I just don't think it's in the plans.
And I don't think at E3 this year would have been an ideal point for them to break out VR. I mean, you just announced a $500 box. Mm-hmm. And so even if Microsoft is building a proprietary headset or a head-mounted display for the Xbox One X, I wouldn't have expected them to rush that or to usher that out during the show saying, hey, look, here's $500 for the box. Here's another $500 for this headset. So I don't think they could have done that. And then obviously they talked about a partnership with Oculus a while back, but we haven't heard anything about that since then. And at the same time, I don't think they can go out and say, hey, look, yes, this works with Oculus and HTC Vive, because those are more expensive than something that they could probably make specifically for the Xbox One X. So you're talking about a lot of money, no matter which way they would have went with VR at this show, whether it would have been a proprietary headset or if it would have been something using an Oculus or an HTC Vive with it. I just don't think they could have. I don't think they could talk about VR without putting too much money in front of people, too many big prices in front of people to turn them off completely.
Yeah. I think that's a byproduct of the position that they're in as well. Because, I mean, Sony did it, right? Like, they came out with PlayStation VR and the PlayStation 4 Pro basically at the same time. Mm-hmm. So, but they're in a different position in the marketplace, though. Mm-hmm. Like, the way they were able to position those machines as a value proposition for the consumers that they were targeting. And, VR works on the regular PlayStation 4 as well. The Pro is not necessary, and I think that's going to pose an issue for Microsoft moving forward too. If they do decide they want to do VR, I feel like they would want to do it for the X almost exclusively, as opposed to putting it onto their other machine as well. It seems like they're more interested in a higher fidelity version of VR, and once again, the messaging for the Xbox One has been like, this is the same unit, this is the same machine. It's just it's gonna look it's gonna play. Your games are gonna play and look better on the Xbox One X. All the accessories are interchangeable and all that stuff. So that kind of muddies that message again. If you decide to put out a VR unit and it's only for the Xbox One X, that goes back a little bit on that whole vision that they have for the platform. I know some people don't agree with that, but that's just how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm. Bender, I mean, do you agree with that, with the original comment that, VR is more suited for PC? I mean, what you've experienced on PlayStation VR, I mean, would you say VR has a rightful place on consoles?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Sony did it just fine. I mean, the PSVR works. It may not be as visually stunning as some of the other headsets, although I haven't tried the other headsets, just from what I've heard. It's perfectly serviceable, and it works, and it's still very immersive, and it's a really good headset. So, I mean, it's definitely possible for a console to have a good VR experience.
Mm-hmm. And with the specs of the Xbox One X, I got to believe there'd be a hell of an experience on there too. So
I think at the end of the day, I just don't know that Microsoft wants to be in on VR at this kind of experimental level. You know, Sony has said from the beginning, like, look, this is like, we see this as the future of gaming. Like, this is a big part of us moving forward. We spent a lot of money in research and development on this. Like, we want to get in on the ground floor. Like, we want to be the gateway to the mass market for VR. And, you know, that's been kind of their rallying cry behind it from the beginning. And on Microsoft's side of the coin, like I said, it just seems like they don't want to get in on it at this point. Like, they want to get in on it when it's a little more established. It's something they can get behind a little bit more. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it probably makes sense in terms of where their business is at right now as well to tackle it that way. So I think that's kind of what we're looking at here.
Right. We also had a couple of big games announced during the Microsoft press conference. First up, Forza 7 was revealed in a release date, October 3rd, a month before the launch of the Xbox One X. We also got to see Metro Exodus, which is coming out in 2018. That game looked frigging amazing. Game looked really good. Really good
showing for that game.
Big time. We got a release window of spring 2018 for State of Decay 2. A game that it looked good, like visually speaking, it looked like a good game, but I can't get into these management zombie games. I mean, there's too much management going on, resource management, but the world looked awesome. It looked like there was a lot to do, a lot of zombies out there to blow away. So, State of Decay 2 gets a release window again, spring 2018. One of the big moments of the show was when they revealed that Minecraft will be getting a 4K update. They also mentioned that Minecraft will be going cross-platform. And by cross-platform, we mean not just PC, but Xbox, PC, and the Nintendo Switch, as well as iPad and iOS, all iOS devices. So here we are, Ben. We're at the big moment where we're finally seeing like legitimate cross-platform play across all systems, all consoles. And we saw this trailer. Microsoft had an awesome trailer up. They're like, oh, look, you see the Switch in the background. You see an iPad. But no PlayStation 4.
Nope. Sony not playing ball on this.
Sony is still not involved with this cross-platform play, Ben, and I want to talk about that for a minute. Why is this still an issue?
I don't really know. I don't know all the logistics of it or what goes into this, but I will say a couple things on it.
Well, first of all, before you get to your points,
yeah,
I have the answer, because obviously Jim Ryan for Sony, he's going to clear this up for us, right? I mean,
oh yeah,
we have Mike Nichols clearing up VR.
Jim's known for his clearing up comments.
Yeah, Mike Nichols out there clearing up comments with VR. So Jim Ryan's like, hey, hold my beer, I'll clear up our issues. Here's what Jim Ryan had to say about why Minecraft is not, or PS4 is not included in this cross-platform play. We've got to be mindful of our responsibility to our install base. Minecraft, the demographic playing that, you know as well as I do, it's all ages, but it's also very young. We have a contract with the people who go online with us that we will look after them, and they are within the PlayStation curated universe. Exposing what in many cases are children to external influences we have no ability to manage or look after, it's something we have to think about very carefully. What? Ben, what the hell is Jim Ryan talking about?
And I'm calling BS on that. I don't believe that for a minute that that's the reason why they're not getting involved with this. I do think though that let me start here. I read an article on Push Square this week that I thought made some good points in reference to why Sony might not want to get involved in this, and they came at it just from a business perspective. They postulated that, and I'm kind of paraphrasing here. I don't want to mess this article up, but when you get a chance, go to Push Square, read their opinion article on why they think Sony's not getting involved with cross-platform play. But from what I can gather, the crux of the argument was that this was a business decision in their opinion. Sony's biggest thing that they have over their competitors right now, like, is their network, is the exclusivity of what their platform is able to offer. If they have 60 million PS4s out in the wild, and like this is the system that the majority of gamers, not the majority, but that more have a PS4 than have an Xbox. So when you're going to buy a new system and you want to play with your friends are more likely to have a PS4 than they are to have an Xbox, right? It's just numbers. Mm-hmm. So they postulated that in Sony's mind, they may be thinking that because like this is the one like really big advantage they have over the competition is the fact that their network and their games and their gamers are on their platform. And if you want to get involved with that, you have to jump into that platform, opening up the platform to then be able to play these games with other people on Xbox, on Switch. It mitigates that a little bit. It now allows people to be like, well, you know, I want to play Call of Duty with my friends, but I can play Call of Duty with my friends on any platform I want now. So I'm okay to go out and get an Xbox now. I don't have to get a PS4. I can get an Xbox and play with my Call of Duty friends on PS4. This is just a hypothetical situation. So it could just be from a nuts and bolts business perspective. Like they don't want to give that up. They have the lead in the install base, and they want people to come to their platform to play games on their platform with their players. And I can see that. And I don't think they're going to come out and say that because that's like a business type of thing. So I don't know that they'd come out and say that to everybody. But that was kind of the crux of what they were getting at, and I thought it made sense. The other thing I'm thinking about is look, we all know that the PSN got hacked in 2011, and it was one of the worst experiences that Sony and PlayStation had to go through and had to deal with. And I really think a part of them is concerned or worried that even though, you know, Sony and or Microsoft and Nintendo, by most accounts, haven't had an issue of that caliber, obviously, but for them to relinquish just a little bit of control over their network at this point, I think they're a little bit leery about that. So I don't know that factors into any of this at all, but that's just the thought I had. Like they can't afford to have that happen again. So if they relinquish even a little bit of control, there's a slim chance that something could happen, and you know they could be in deep water again, and maybe it's something that they didn't even have any control over. So I think there's maybe a little bit of just cautiousness around that. Also, from what I understand, when you play Minecraft on the Switch and you're doing crossplay, it's going to say powered by Xbox Live. So I don't know if it would have to say that on Sony's platform as well, but I'm sure they don't want that showing up on their system. Right. So that's just a couple of things I'm thinking about. Some of that stuff may be off base. I don't know, but I don't have a definitive answer for why they're not getting involved.
And see, I guess my only response to that, to the push article, the first point being, you know, people saying, "Oh, I don't need to buy PS4. You know, I'll pick up an Xbox One so I can play with my friends in any system." I would say that goes back to Sony saying, "Hey, look, you have a job to do to market the system. You can't let the online portion be the make or break of it. You have a very strong first party presence. You have a lot of great games coming your way. It would be on Sony to continue to market that system regardless if you can play with Xbox One players or not. Sony still has a job to sell you a system, and I'm not sure the online portion of crossplay would be enough to sway one person away from first party games. So I think that Sony would still have a job to do to kind of to sell the system to people regardless of being able to crossplay. And the other thing that you mentioned about the hacking, if Sony has done their job and learned from their mistake, I have to believe their network would be capable of doing this. I mean, look at Nintendo. Their network has been just a complete joke for the last 10 years. Yet they can hop in and play on Xbox Live without any concerns. So, I mean, having Sony gone through that hack, I have to believe that they learned their lesson. They have the countermeasures in place to prevent anything from happening like that again, to the best of their ability anyways. And and Jim Ryan's comments, we talked about it before the show, were just hilarious, because if there's one publisher that should be concerned about kids, okay, it's the one that's had one M-rated game on its system in the last 3 years or more, and that's Nintendo. What was the game they had? What was the M-rated game that got canceled after
Devil's Third?
Yeah, and it's been shut off after like 2 months since launch. So I don't buy into the whole children's thing. And plus, they're like, what was the other comment? He said, exposing these kids to external influences that we have no ability to manage or look after. Look, I'm pretty sure if somebody on the PlayStation Network, some kid is getting harassed by some guy on Xbox or Nintendo, if they submit a grievance, I'm pretty sure Xbox and Nintendo would look into it right away, regardless if it's from Sony or not. So I don't buy into the whole, oh, well, we can't protect our people. I'm pretty sure everyone doesn't. All three publishers are in agreement. Nobody wants little kids being exposed to really bad things. And I got to believe everything would be in place to have it. Hey, look, if this gets reported, regardless of what platform it's on, Microsoft or Nintendo or whatever, they're all going to investigate accordingly. So Jim Ryan's comments are just a complete joke, in my opinion. I think that was just a disastrous. Jim Ryan had a bad week, period. But that was probably just the dumbest explanation statement I've heard in a long time. None of it adds up. None of it makes sense.
The other part of it, Brent, is Sony already does cross-platform play with PC, which is an open platform and doesn't have any of the measures in place that Xbox or Nintendo doesn't have shit. So whatever they have in place, but Xbox has some stuff in place. So the PC is wide open. You gotta, I mean, who knows what the hell goes on over there? So that's another aspect of it as well.
Yeah, and so that was just one of the stranger moments after the conference when they talked about this crossplay stuff, which I still think is pretty cool because not only is it coming to Minecraft, it's also coming to Rocket League. Mm-hmm. Rocket League will now have cross-platform play between the Switch version, which launches this fall. That'll have crossplay with PC and Xbox One. But again, Sony's not in the mix. And again, Psyonix came out this week and said literally everything is in place. Everything is in place. Sony literally just has to say yes, and we can click the box, and it's up and running.
Well, they've been saying that for months too. Like they said they've had it ready for months.
So I just think Sony needs to look at this and just say, hey, look, as long as they've done everything they need to protect their network, I don't think they have to worry about that. I'm pretty sure all three publishers will be out to protect kids, and Sony has a strong first party where they could really sell that in case they're worried about people like, I don't need a PlayStation 4, I can just buy an Xbox One. Sony still has a job to sell their system. So in the end, just turn the switch on, Sony, please. just do it so we can stop talking about this.
So do you think they're going to cave on this?
I don't know if they will or not. I wouldn't be surprised one bit if they didn't, but I think they have to, man. I mean, look, this is what gamers want. This is what their audience wants. There's a lot. I mean, I'm not saying everyone here wants that, but I know there's a lot of gamers that would love to be able to go online, and I mean that just increases the community for every game. Mm-hmm. It really does. There will never be a shortage of players if you're bringing everyone together like that. I mean, Bender. I mean, how important is crossplay to you? I mean, how appealing is it to you? Like if they released it for Destiny, for example, crossplay, Xbox, PC, and PlayStation 4. I mean, would that be cool to you, or is that something that you would really want, or could you care less?
In the case of Destiny, I wouldn't want crossplay with PC.
True.
Or any shooter. But in the case of like Rocket League or Minecraft, I mean, I think that'd be great to have crossplay across all platforms, including PlayStation. That'd be cool. I mean, you'd never have to worry about waiting for a match in Rocket League because everyone, there'd be plenty of people online playing. So for games like that, yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd be all down for that.
I'd be cool with Destiny 2 if it was just PS4 and Xbox. I mean, I've got a couple of buddies who are on Xbox that'll have Destiny 2, and hey, I can play with them now. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there is an appeal there. It is a cool idea, and hopefully Sony will embrace it. They won't be so hard up against it, but that remains to be seen. I would not be shocked, though, if they don't give into this, Ben. I wouldn't be shocked at all. We also got a look at 3 different games here, Ben, at the Xbox press conference. We got a look at The Last Night, The Artful Escape, and Bender's highly anticipated Tacoma. Mm-hmm. Any guys got any thoughts on these games? Ben, you first.
I actually thought they all looked great. Really, really interesting art styles on these games. The Last Night is like this modern, like all the backgrounds are like really sharp and I don't know, it's got a really interesting pixel art style. I don't know how to describe it. It looks like a high res pixel art style. It's a very interesting look and very, very cool looking game. Some type of I don't know, like a noir adventure game or something like that. The Artful Escape looks badass. It looks like very, very colorful, cartoony. Looks almost like a Night in the Woods, like that kind of art style. But just maybe even a little bit crisper. And you're some type of a platforming adventure where you use a guitar as like your means to get through the world. So that game looks awesome, and I love at the end they say it's going to be out when it's damn ready. So that was cool. And then Tacoma, Fulbright. Didn't see much of it in this trailer. It was a very brief trailer, but we got a release date for it, August 2nd. So I'm sure that's going to shape up to be a really, really good game with those guys at the helm.
Bender, I know you're hyped for Tacoma. Before we get to that, though, any interest or thoughts on The Last Night or The Artful Escape?
Yeah, those both look great to me too. Really cool art styles, like Ben was saying. The Artful Escape was one that really piqued my interest when I saw that trailer at E3. Definitely unique and a very interesting looking game, so I'm looking forward to learning more about that one. The Last Night looked very, very interesting as well with the pixel art style. That was super cool. But yeah, I can't wait to play Tacoma. It's gonna be a good game. I'm sure it's gonna be a relatively short experience, but I think it's going to be a cool game with a good story, with the Fulbright team at the helm. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I think Tacoma looks great, but Ben, yeah, I think for me, I think The Last Night is the one that really stood out to me. That's the one I really, really want to play. So nice little section there. We also got, finally, a release date for Cuphead.
Oh boy.
In one of the stranger showings at the show. I mean, here's a game that everybody has been clamoring for. Everybody on the Xbox side has been clamoring to see more of this game. And all we get is a quick sizzle reel of it and a September 29th release date. Ben, do you think that all these delays, maybe this game has lost sight of what it's trying to be? Because for them not to kind of give out a nice gameplay demo of a game, I'm serious, this game is highly anticipated by the Xbox and PC community. There's been a lot of hype behind this game, and even though the delays might have killed some of that hype, I just thought it was a very strange, just quick, sizzle reel of it, and boom, date. That was it.
Yeah, I mentioned this a little bit on our reaction stream, just talking about the game, but I'm a little worried about Cuphead. The stuff we've heard about the game over the last year or two has not been good. Originally, this game started off as kind of a boss rush kind of game, and that was what it was being designed around. People were digging it. They were loving it, but they were like, man, this is awesome. Why don't you guys make some levels? And then, so they did that. They started to expand on the game. They started to make some levels, and some of the feedback we've heard about those levels has not been very good. So I think the ambition got away from on this game. The hype is all but dead at this point for Cuphead, unfortunately. I mean, the game's been gestating for 4 or 5 years now, and it's just people are just not excited about it anymore. So, and that's how it felt at the press conference. They shoveled out a 15-second trailer, slapped the release date up, and like, let's just get this game out and get on with our life. It had that kind of a feeling to it. And yeah, the fact that they didn't show us anything about the game or go into how the game's changed or evolved, which is everything we've been hearing about the game. If we've been hearing about this game, you're telling us that it's got levels and it's doing all this now and it's a different game, like, shouldn't you show us that or let us know, like, hey, we've been working on the game, we've been doing all this, we've been building levels for it now, this is what it looks like, here's a level in action. Like, to me, that would seem like the way to go, and I certainly didn't see any of that. Maybe they did it outside of the stream, but I don't know. But it was a very, very weird reveal. It just struck me as a game that they're just trying to get out and you get done with and move on from, and I don't know how this game's going to turn out.
Bender, would you agree the hype has died? I know you had some interest in Cuphead. Are you excited now that we have a release date? And what was your thought of the reveal of it there?
I'm still interested in the game. I'm planning on picking it up when it comes out. I do have some concerns, though. I mean, Ben makes some good points. Like, it would have been nice to see a little bit more about what they've changed about the game or something. So I'm kind of concerned of what the final product is going to be, but I still am interested enough that I'm gonna buy it and play it, and hopefully it'll be good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have hopes for this game, but obviously the excitement has kind of dwindled. We're not really sure what this game is going to be. Obviously, the art style still stands out. It's a beautiful looking game. The animations look fantastic, but how deep will the gameplay be? Will it be fun? Does it know what it wants to be? Hopefully, the original concept is still strong, even with the additions and changes. But we'll find out on September 29th here pretty quick.
Yeah, and just to be clear, this is a game I still want to play as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like the art style in this game, like you guys mentioned, is extremely unique. There's not any other games that look like it. Absolutely love the art style. Have loved it since day one. I'm just really concerned that the game that's going to be around it is not the game that it could have been had this released, couple years ago.
Well, there you go, dude. Pick up an Xbox One X. Pick up Cuphead. There you go.
I'll play Cuphead on my PC.
We also got another look at Ashen. Still no release date, but the game actually still looks pretty good. Ben, any thoughts on it?
Yeah, it looked great in the trailer. I actually forgot this game even existed.
So did I.
We hadn't seen it for a couple years, and then we started to watch the trailer, and we're like, oh, wait a minute. It's the No Face people. And then and then as the trailer went on, it looks cool. It looks like it's got a cool, like almost Dark Souls inspired combat system. It's got that kind of dodge, roll, and parry, and kind of strike when the iron's hot type of mechanic about it. At least from what we could see in the trailer. I'm not even sure any of that was gameplay again. I feel like we watched a cinematic again, but so not entirely sure how the game plays or how it works, but looks really cool. Looks like it's gonna have a pretty interesting fighting system. So I definitely want to see some more about this. It looked great from what we saw.
And then after that, we finally got a look at Below. Oh wait, no, we didn't. Never mind. That's still they're still gone dark on that one. So
man, Below and Cuphead joined at the hip.
Man, but at least we saw Cuphead. We didn't see anything from Below.
No.
Man, when was the last time we heard? Was that last year when they went dark? Is what they said?
Yeah, I think they went dark last year, but I don't even know when we had any significant information or video from that game prior to them going dark. It's been a while, man.
What we did see though was a brand new demo of Sea of Thieves, and we got a release window early 2018. Ben, I think we can agree this is probably the best showing we've had of Sea of Thieves. Obviously, we still not really sure what all this game will entail in the end, but at least we got to see a little bit more of the game. We got to see different parts of the world that you can explore, some of the different things you can do, but we're still curious about the scope and scale, like how much to this game is there, what is the ultimate objective, and whatnot. But quick impressions of the new trailer that we saw, or the new demo.
Yeah, the demo we watched this year was far superior to the one we saw prior. The YouTube yelling back and forth like that just didn't do it for me. But the game looks better. Like it seems like they've the look of it's come along a lot. We saw some more interesting mechanics like looking for treasures and following a map, and that kind of stuff looked cool. We saw some I think they were swimming underwater as well, so there was some underwater exploration. So it was a much better demo. It looked fun from what they were doing in the demo there. But like you said, the question remains, like, what is this game? Is there a single player story? Is there a campaign? Like, what do you do in this game? What is the objective? Is it just simply you and your pirate buddies messing around and finding stuff to do? That's fine if it is, but that's not really a game I want to play. I want something with some objectives, with an overall goal. So it still remains to be seen. I still haven't heard one way or another like what this game is.
Now, Bender, I've played this in alpha, and just based on the visual art style and the kind of the concept that we see early on, any interest in Sea of Thieves? I mean, we got to see a much better demo. I mean, is your interest piqued at all, or are you still kind of like, eh?
This demo did raise my interest level a little bit. I do kind of want to learn more about the game and see what it's like. It's like Ben was saying though, I need some like well-defined objectives. I want a game where like I have the option of exploring around and doing whatever I want, but I want things that I have to go and do, like things to accomplish that it sets before me. That's how a good open world game is designed, so that's kind of what I want from this game. If it's just wander around and pick up treasure maps and go dig up treasure, and then that doesn't sound that exciting to me. So hopefully they'll tell us a little bit more about what the overall, and I know also I would want there to be some sort of semblance of a story, like, with this game. If it's just exploring and shooting skeletons, I'm like, okay, that's great, but I want a story and objectives to keep me interested throughout my time with the game. So if they can show me that that's what this game is, then I'll definitely be in. But if not, then I'll probably pass on it.
Gotcha.
Brent, are we missing the boat on something here? I mean, this is a game we've seen at multiple E3s now. There's been alphas, like people have been playing this game, and I feel like we follow the industry pretty closely. we have no idea what this game is or what it entails, and I'm wondering why.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why don't we know if this game has a story or if it's like why is that not a thing at this point?
It's really strange too, because I think at this point, I think it would be helpful if those that are in the alpha could actually talk about it, but we can't. We can't talk about it in any which way. What you can do in the game and what not. But it's kind of difficult when not only are the developers and Microsoft not giving us a whole lot, you're not even letting the people who are in there playing the game to kind of talk about it and kind of generate the hype. I mean, that's what happens in some alphas when they're open. I mean, you get people talking about it. You get people talking about what this game could do, and that's how you generate excitement. But they've got an NDA on the alpha. You can't talk about it. And then obviously, again, obviously a much better demo. But there's still a lot of questions about this game, and we're coming up on early spring 2018. So I'm hoping sometime before now and then we'll finally get something from Microsoft saying, okay, look, here's what Sea of Thieves is. Here is everything you can do. Here's the single-player components. Here's the MMO type of style of play. I mean, all of that stuff. Here's for you to understand what Sea of Thieves is. But until they do that, if they don't do this until launch, there's going to be too many questions for people to say, I'm going to go out and buy this. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows what this is yet.
There's been a lot of press hands-on stuff too, and I can't remember reading anything that clearly defined what this game is. It's kind of strange. And early 2018 is shaping up to be like early 2017 was. Just some blockbuster games in that time frame, and so I worry about Sea of Thieves getting lost in the shuffle there, especially if nobody has any idea what it is.
Right. Then we also got to see some Crackdown 3, which was just basically Terry Crews doing his thing, which is awesome because Terry Crews is hilarious. But again, we didn't get to see a whole lot, and we didn't get to see any of the multiplayer, which is where all the hype is behind this game with all the destruction. All we got to see was Terry Crews. Some snippets, some very small snippets of what this game is, which I'm not really sure. I don't know what Crackdown is. I never played any of them. I know there's a following, and there's a lot of people that are really excited for Crackdown 3. I saw a couple videos from the E3 floor where people were kind of like shooting the game off screen, and it looks like Borderlands in terms of its visuals. Like this shell, it almost looks like it's cell shaded. Like it just this. It's a cool looking thing, but I would expect something more demanding, especially if this is going to be something that's going to showcase the Xbox One X at some point, because this thing is launching right alongside the Xbox One X. So, I mean, but obviously that's off screen. You can't get a really good look at a game. I mean, but the multiplayer is what everyone's supposed to be hyped about, but we didn't get to see any of that at E3.
Yeah, with Crackdown 3, this is another one, Brent. We talked about it on the reaction video. This is one where I wanted to see more from, and I just don't understand why they did it this way, And from what I've heard, this is not a great looking title. So off screen or not, from the people that have actually played the game, this is not like a visual masterpiece, from what I understand. So we've got a game which we thought they've been holding it back for this long, that we thought this was going to be a showpiece game for the Xbox One X, and it doesn't sound like that's going to be the case now. Which is weird. Like you said, it's now launching on the same date as the Xbox One X. It's another one of those things, dude. Like, this is a game we needed to see more of. Like, Crackdown 3 has been off the radar. Nobody's known what the hell's going on with this game. There was supposed to be a beta last summer for the multiplayer portion. Nothing. Not a peep. Nobody knew what the hell was going on with this thing. We all anticipated it would return at this E3, and it did, but the showing was underwhelming. We got Terry Crews yelling, doing the Terry Crews thing, like you said, which is awesome. I love Old Spice Terry Crews. That's what he was in this video. But then we just saw some guys jumping around and shooting rocket launchers. That's all we saw. Outside of that, we don't know anything about this game, what it does, how it's gonna push the system, even what the game is about. So this was a missed opportunity for me to sell Crackdown 3 to the masses. And once again, this is a game that's coming out in the heart of the fall. And we just haven't seen enough to get hyped about this game at all.
Well, I can tell you one game that got us hyped, and especially Bender, Ori and the Will of the Wisps was announced. A sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest. Bender, what did you think of this reveal, man? You hyped for this one?
I am. It was a very short trailer. It didn't show us much, but I loved the first game. I thought it was great. It was a very challenging, very visually stunning Metroidvania game with a fantastic soundtrack. Really, really cool game. So I'm definitely looking forward to a sequel. Because I just love the first one so much.
Oh yeah.
The music in that trailer was epic.
Yeah,
awesome.
The whole soundtrack for the first game is gorgeous. So,
Yeah.
Surprise that we have better, epic music for this one. But we don't have a release window. We don't have anything like that. But it is coming, and I know I'll be picking it up. I know Bender will pick it up. Ben, did you ever play it on PC? I know you have it on PC.
Yeah, I have it on PC. I played it a little bit. I didn't get to play it as much as I would have liked to. My my PC wasn't quite up to snuff for it. Like, I can play it, but it's not really where it needs to be to be experienced the way it was meant to be experienced. But I like what I played of it. I know Moon Studios has done some weird things over the last few years, in and outside of that game. But this game looks absolutely beautiful, and I do want to play through the first Ori at some point. It's just sitting on my Steam account there. I just got to get to it.
It's pretty good, dude.
I downloaded it on Steam as well before I bought it on Xbox, and I tried it on my PC. Did not work. It was a slideshow. So I was like, I better just buy this on Xbox.
Nice.
One other thing that we want to talk about here for just a moment. One of the reveals from the Xbox show was Xbox or original Xbox games are coming to backwards compatibility. Microsoft confirmed that Crimson Skies High Road to Revenge is one of the titles that will be backwards compatible during its press conference, but that's the only one supported title that we know of so far. Spencer refrained from discussing what other games fans can expect. We have a lineup of games we're working on. He said, also adding that they're not making any kind of commitment about all the first-party games. So, I mean, this is something that obviously the hardened of hardcore Xbox guys want. They want their backwards compatibility. They have a ton of games. This will work with discs. So if you have an Xbox One disc or an OG Xbox game, you can pop it right in, and it should work.
Oh, Xbox naming conventions striking again.
Man, all over the place with this thing. But Ben, I mean, again, is this just one of those things where I think this is just, like you mentioned, it's a cool thing to announce, but I do think there is an audience. There are people that are really excited for this that are, like I said, the most diehard of Xbox fans that collect all their games. They have them all. They'll be able to revisit some of these games. But I don't think this had nearly the same impact as when they announced the 360 backwards compatibility. I think it's just, again, something that's cool to announce. There is an audience for it, but is this something that I would jump into? No. I mean, there are some Xbox games I probably wish I could have played. I don't have time to go back and play these older games. I don't have any time for any of that. But any thoughts on this, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound like a broken record on this, man, but we've talked about my thoughts on backwards compatibility before, and I'll say it again here. My feelings remain the same. Backwards compatibility is something cool to announce at a press conference or to have on your system. But I just don't think that many people use it. I just don't think it's a feature that a lot of people take advantage of. Phil came out on stage and he said that 50% of Xbox One owners have, I forgot the phrasing he used, but I think it was tried or played an Xbox 360 game on their Xbox One. So I'd imagine if we dove deep into those numbers, that a lot of those are just people have an Xbox 360 game. They just fired it up on their 360 briefly, or on their Xbox One briefly, just to see what it looked like. Maybe they had a favorite game like Fallout 3 or something. They fired it up just to see what it was like and played it for a couple minutes, and then they moved on from there. It's like you said. I find it very hard to believe that people are buying Xbox Ones and then spending so much time playing Xbox 360 games on there. Like, this is something that, it's cool to go back and play a game that you missed. Like, that's awesome if you have a lull in the new release schedule or something like that and you want to go back and play something you never got to. Like, that's a great feature to have, and there are people that do that. But I just think it's a very small percentage of owners that take advantage of this the way that, in its totality. And it's going to be even, like you said, even smaller for original Xbox. I mean, these are 15-year-old games. I mean, do you really want to buy an Xbox One and then go back and play 15-year-old games? I don't know what they're going to do to these games. Maybe they spruce them up, and I assume they have to, right? You got to do something to these games.
They mentioned that these games will see the benefits, especially on the X. They'll see benefit gains.
Yeah. So they're going to spruce these games up, and they'll probably look cool on the Xbox One X. And I don't have a lot of nostalgia for that platform. The games that I would have wanted to play on there, like Halo, which are already remastered and available. So but the people that have a fondness for that system, they're going to go back and play some of their old games, and they're going to have a good time doing it, I'm sure. But yeah, like I said, man, it's not something that is going to appeal to the masses. It's going to appeal to a minority, and that's not a bad thing. They that's Xbox keeping their hardcore fans happy, and those are the people that evangelize your system and talk about it to their friends and to other people. So that's not a bad thing at all. I just don't know that many people are going to use it.
I love Red Dead Redemption. I picked it up on backwards compatibility, played it for 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Bender, any interest in backwards compatibility? Are there any Xbox games that you would want to be like, okay, look, I'm going to set Destiny 2 down. I'm going to set down all these other games. I'm going to jump into this OG game. Any interest in backwards compatibility on the Xbox or for Xbox games?
The only game that comes to mind for me is Knights of the Old Republic. I didn't have an original Xbox. I've played very few games from that system, from that era, because I had a GameCube at the time. But I do remember playing a little bit of Knights of the Old Republic one time, and I loved that game from what I played of it. So that is a game that I would want to revisit. Other than that, I can't think of too many that I would want to, but I do like the option of having backwards compatibility. Whether or not people use it, it's good that it's very consumer friendly. I think that they give you the option of doing that, and especially with like with the games with gold, sometimes some of those backwards compatibility games are ones that they're giving away for free that you can download. That's how I got Beyond Good and Evil, the original, and I played through a great deal of that game. Haven't finished it, but I'll probably finish it before the second one comes out. But it's just cool that they give people the option. I like that.
I agree with you up front. Like I said, it's a cool thing to announce. Some people will love it. Some people will never use it. But
definitely. And this is the way to do it as well. Like if you're gonna do backwards compatibility, like the way that Xbox has done this and committed to the program, like this is like the way that it should be done. They've got hundreds and hundreds of 360 games on there. Don't know how in depth they're gonna go with the OG, but the fact that you can use your discs, that you can download your stuff, like this is the way it should be done. So they've done a great job with this program. It's like you said, just don't know how many people are using it.
And one thing they mentioned also is Phil Spencer mentioned there's a possibility they could include OG Xbox games into the Game Pass to make that a little bit more appealing. So if you pick up Game Pass, maybe they'll add some OG Xbox games. So they got a lot of options there to kind of, to sell that feature to people, whether it's through Game Pass or just, hey, look, bring your discs and you'll be able to pop it in and play. So, and the last thing we want to talk about from the Xbox press conference, obviously probably one of the showcase shows of the entire E3 week. This is where we saw BioWare's next game, Anthem, which is just a gorgeous looking open shared world sci-fi epic where you can fly around like Iron Man and attack giant turtles. So, I mean, this was honestly probably this is one of my top 5 games from E3. I'm sure it's on your guys' list as well. But quick thoughts on Anthem, Bender.
I thought Anthem looked great. It looked really, really cool. I'm really excited to see more about that game. It looks like a mix between Mass Effect and Destiny and Iron Man, and just flying around and exploring and shooting stuff and getting loot and exploring dungeons and all kinds of stuff. It looks like there's a lot of stuff going on in that game, so I'm really excited to learn more about that game. It looks pretty awesome.
It looks absolutely gorgeous. I mean, they had it running on the Xbox One X or a PC with those specs. It just looked absolutely gorgeous. It looked like it played great. The world is just fantastic. I just want to fly around like Iron Man. I mean, when they did the demo, they went flying into that tunnel right away. I was like, no, dude, let's just circle around the environment real quick and get a good look at things. But I thought it looked great. Ben?
Yeah, just stunning looking title. Was basically everything we could have hoped for out of an initial reveal for this game. I mean, the hype for this game now at an astronomical level for myself personally. Just obviously, I love superheroes. I love sci-fi, and to be able to jump into a mech suit and then fly around like Iron Man, Like, that's awesome. If they've nailed that mechanic and it feels as good as it looks in the game, like, that's going to be a really, really fun thing to do, is just fly around in one of those suits. And, we saw the Digital Foundry video on it as well, and from what they were able to dig up, it appears the game was running on an Xbox One X from the, little cues and stuff that they got from the visuals in the game. So that's awesome. Yeah, like you said, just a stunning looking title. That storm that comes at the end, the amount of particle effects and things that are on the screen at that time. Just the locomotion in that game looks awesome. Running through the fields with your jet boosters on, and doing the boosted jumps and going underwater and just flying around, like just moving around in that world looks really excellent. And it seems like a really interesting story. Obviously, it has Destiny-style mechanics, and just shouts out to Destiny, man, for just inspiring all of these games. Like, maybe Destiny's not the first one to do what it does, but there seems to be a rush of games and people tapping into some of these mechanics after Destiny. So the Division and games of that sort, but even something like Alienation, like, just follows the loot formula set up in Destiny, where you got the purple legendaries and the yellow exotics and all that kind of stuff. So this seems to be taking some cues from that style. So to take a BioWare style, like, epic sci-fi story, put it into a shared world that looks this cool with this type of movement, and we saw some really excellent combat in it as well. Super hyped for this game, man. This is going to be a one to watch for next fall.
Yep, comes out fall 2018, and you talk about the story. It's being penned by the same person that wrote Mass Effect 1 and 2. Awesome. So there'll be a very deep story with a lot of different ways to approach it, and I think it's safe to say everybody here at Short Pause is really, really excited to play Anthem when it launches next year.
Absolutely.
And then the last bit of Xbox news we want to talk about real quick is Halo Wars 2: Awakening the Nightmare. It comes out this fall, and it'll run you $20. So, Frankie, there you go, buddy. You got your expansion you've been waiting on. So that basically sums up everything that we got on the Xbox. Obviously, there was more stuff, but it's hard to kind of get everything into this without being a 5-hour show.
And we covered all that on our reaction videos after as well. So if you want to see what we thought of every single detail that was unveiled at these press conferences, make sure you check out those videos on our YouTube page. We got it all on there.
Boom. All right, so let's jump over to Sony, Ben. How about you walk us through what we saw here, what we heard from Sony outside of the press conference? Anything that we should talk about here?
Yeah. So first of all, let's dive into the conference here. They kicked things off with a new trailer for Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, and I'll tell you what, fellas, this game looks great. Looks most excellent, and the feedback, or from what I've read from the press outside of the press conference, what they've been able to see of the game outside of the trailer that was shown, like, this is an Uncharted experience through and through. The characters, the writing, the epic set pieces, like, this is no mere DLC. This is a true standalone Uncharted experience, and that's really, really exciting that we're just a couple months away from getting the next piece of this saga. Brent, what'd you think when you saw this trailer, man?
I don't think I've set it up, but I really like Chloe. Like, I love Chloe. I have a thing for Chloe. She's so awesome. She's so badass, and I just love her voice. So, no, yeah, I'm anxious to play this, dude. I'm anxious to pick this up. This is just going to be more of the same, what we expect from Uncharted, which is going to be just a fine presentation, beautiful graphics, beautiful gameplay. I can't wait.
Yeah. Bender, we saw some really, really epic moments in the trailer. Like, I can't wait to explore the relationship between Chloe and Nadine. That just sounds like that's going to be like an awesome getting to know those two and seeing how they interact with one another. What do you think about what we saw from The Lost Legacy?
I thought it was great. It looks pretty awesome. I can't wait. Just like I got to a point in with Uncharted 4 where I was like, I don't need to see any more of this game. So that's how I am with this one now. I don't need to see any more. I'm sold. I just want the game. I want to download it and play it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I love what we've heard about it, how it's just basically ballooned or turned into this like really solid standalone experience. And I don't know, I'm anticipating a pretty beefy game when this actually comes out. So I don't know how long it's going to be, but this isn't going to be a 3-hour experience. We're probably looking something in the 6 to 10 hour range for this game, and that's pretty awesome. So from there we move down. We got the long talked about DLC for Horizon Zero Dawn, the Frozen Wilds, announced for this year. So this is the big single player expansion we've been hearing about. Frozen, a brand new like frozen tundra type of environment. Got some new story elements. Got look to have some more badass fights with like thunder jaws and that kind of stuff. So we can look forward to that. Bender, you're you excited for this, man?
I am. Yeah, in fact, I went back to Horizon Zero Dawn, started playing it again. Got it back from because I had lent it to a friend because I was going to play Mass Effect Andromeda 1st. But I saw this trailer for this DLC. I was like, man, I need to get back to that game. That game was so good. I had only played it for a few hours before, but yeah, I'm happy to get back to it. I've been playing it the last few days, and I love that game. It's great. So I'm hoping I can get through the game before the DLC comes out, so I can experience that when it's ready.
Yeah, Brent, you ready to hop into the frozen wastelands of Horizon, the Frozen Wilds?
I'm like Bender, dude. I'm a little bit further into where he stopped, but I got to get back into that game and finish that before this comes out because this DLC looks awesome.
Yeah,
that frozen tundra area looks fantastic. Yeah. And I just like exploring that world, man. There are so many awesome creatures that you can run into that can end you so quickly. The combat's so good. It's, placing a strategy down to try to defeat a group of mech dinosaurs is it never gets old. I absolutely love doing that. So I got to get back into that game.
Yeah, combat super fun in that game. They really nailed it. It's always fun to explore these frozen areas in games too. I don't know, the snowy areas just in general are just awesome in video games. I don't know what it is, but they're just generally really cool areas to jump into and explore.
And you can grab that right now for I think what was it $15.99 or $14.99?
Yeah.
It's on 25% off.
Yeah, $14.99 to pre-order it. So don't have an exact date on it, but it is pegged for this fall. So got that to look forward to. From there, we got another taste of Days Gone. No release date, unfortunately, for the game. We didn't even get a release window for this one, but thought this demo was excellent. We saw a really cool portion of the game that fleshed out the world a little bit more. So we see the Marauders and some of the human element and how, they're not the most savory of characters in this post-apocalyptic world. We saw the Freakers make an appearance as well, and we saw the character, God, what is his name? Ethan or something like that. Used the Freakers to his advantage, actually. Used them to take out some of the enemies that were around in the world. There's a different playthrough of this demo as well that they were showing behind closed doors that took a different path. And just really love what I'm hearing from this game in terms of the mechanics. That's really what is sticking out to me about Days Gone. So I love the demo that we saw, but I love even more the things that I read and the stuff that I watched after this press conference. So things like the traps that are set up around the world, the dynamic weather system, how it changes everything. Once the snow hits, your bike slides around and the game just plays completely differently when you're in a snowy environment. So really looking forward to seeing how that all works. I love that you can tackle scenarios in a variety of different ways. I love that you can use things like the Freakers, who are these kind of wild card enemies. You can use them to your advantage, or they could give you hell as well when they're like bearing down on you. So really, really like the stuff that I'm seeing from Days Gone. Brent, what do you think about this trailer?
Yeah, I mean, visually speaking, it's a beautiful looking game. Obviously, there's some stealth elements in there, so that was appealing to me. I like how you mentioned the dynamic weather. You can actually, if the snow gets thick, that acts as sort of cover. It'll change the way you can approach a mission. So there are some cool things about this game. I still want to see a little bit more before I jump into it because, like I said, I know they're not zombies, but they basically act like zombies.
They're basically zombies.
Yeah. So I'm just curious to see more about this game before I get really, really hyped up. But from a presentation perspective, this game looks great. It looks gorgeous, and I'm just curious to see how it plays.
Gorgeous, yeah. Sony Bend has been a great studio over the years. This is really the first time in a long time that maybe ever, that they've tackled a AAA game of this caliber. They've typically been on Sony's portable platforms, on the PSP and the Vita. So the fact that they're spreading their wings and they're flying with this game and they're putting together this like epic game that's going to compete alongside the likes of like a Naughty Dog game. But if this can reach anywhere near the heights of any of those games, or obviously it has a very strong Last of Us vibe into it. If it gets anywhere near what that game was able to accomplish, then we're in for something really special here with Days Gone. So love what I've seen in that game. Can't wait to see more of it. Wish we had a release date, but this has to be a 2018 title. From there, we moved on to Monster Hunter World. So this was the one of our first big like surprises. Monster World coming back, or Monster Hunter, sorry, coming back over here in the West. It's going to be on PS4, on Xbox One, I believe on PC as well. So we got our first unveiling of this game. It's confirmed that it'll have co-op, multiplayer, all the stuff that we've come to love from the Monster Hunter franchise. That was something we were unsure of when they first showed the trailer, how that was going to work. But so it looks like there's going to be single-player elements. There's going to be the cooperative elements that we've come to know and love from this game. Brent, you looking to hop into this one?
Yeah, we talked about in the stream. Monster Hunter is a game I always wish I could play on the big screen with a controller and not on a small screen in my hands. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to jumping into this and checking it out. Finally, playing a Monster Hunter game on a big screen.
Bender, big screen Monster Hunter, you down?
Yeah. If you guys get it, you want to play some co-op stuff. I mean, that sounds like fun. So, it did look good from the trailer. The graphics looked way better than I've ever seen a Monster Hunter game look. So. And looks like you can do there's a lot of options for different things you can do. You had that like grapple hook thing and everything, so looked really cool. So I could see myself giving it another shot.
I like that scene at the end where he pulls out the dinosaur meat or whatever and he's roasting it on the fire. That was that was hilarious. So looks cool. It's one of those games, man. Always wanted to jump into the Monster Hunter series. Looks like this one could be really, really fun. So I'm kind of excited to see what that one's all about. And then from there, we had our first case of Bender losing his mind. we saw the Blue Point Games logo, and we've talked about this story on the podcast before, but we knew they were working on something new. Brent, you actually correctly predicted that they were gonna unveil their game on the Sony show. You had the wrong game, but you predicted that they were gonna bring their game out, and they sure did. And Blue Point is remaking Shadow of the Colossus. So Bender, we now know that Shadow of the Colossus this is not just a remaster. They're calling this a remake. So they're rebuilding the graphics from the ground up. They're tweaking the controls for a modern layout. They'll still have the classic controls in there as well if you wanna play it the way that you're familiar with. But dude, talk to me about Blue Point's Shadow of the Colossus remake, man.
I'm super excited about this game. I mean, it's a game I've played many times before. I've played it on PS2. I played it on PS3. The PS3 was a remaster. I mean, it was just upgraded textures and they made it look a little shinier for the PS3 generation, which was cool and all. But yeah, like you said, this is a completely like from the ground up rebuild, everything, new graphics. It looks so beautiful. Like just looking at that trailer, I could tell that it was like all new graphics because I know what those colossi look like or what they normally look like. But yeah, it's really exciting to me as a fan of that game. One thing I was thinking of, which this has already been debunked. I know that they're not adding any new content, but the Shadow of the Colossus, there are 16 colossi in the game. It was originally planned to have 24, I think. And the rest of those remaining 8 just were laid on left on the cutting room floor when they made the game, probably due to memory constraints. I was kind of hoping that they were going to like somehow incorporate those missing colossi into this game, but I think Shuhei Yoshida already said there's no new content. It's the same content as the original game. It's just a remake. So that kind of sucks, but I'm still excited. I'm going to play this game again. I'm really looking forward to it because, those graphics looked amazing, and I love this game, so I will not have any issue buying it again and playing it again on PS4.
It's a beautiful world, and when you see the Colossus standing up there and like their fur like blowing in the wind or whatever, just looks really, really stunning. It's a great like fantasy world to see remastered in front of us. Do you think, Bender, on the topic of the extra colossi that are not in the game, do you think this is more of a case of them not wanting to mess with the classic? Like they don't want to get in there and tinker with it too much. They just want to take this game that's so beloved by many, many people and just kind of remake it for them to experience again. Do you think there's any of that goes into it?
Probably. That's probably a big part of it. I also heard that Mr. Ueda was not very involved in this remake. He's just kind of I don't know if he was even overseeing it or anything.
Yeah.
I feel like if he had a bigger role in it, then maybe he would have wanted to, expand on it and include the ones that he couldn't include in the original game. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, you're probably right. I mean, they probably don't want to mess with this beloved game that so many people have loved over the years. So
Yeah.
which I'm okay with. I mean, the game in itself is complete and it's a fun game and it's good as it is. So I'll still be happy with it.
Yeah. Brent, you ready to hop into this Blue Point remake?
Bender has talked about this game repeatedly in the past, and I never played it when it came out originally. So, yes, I will definitely jump into this when it comes out so I can finally experience this game that Bender has hyped up to levels where it probably won't even meet the expectations.
There's no way it could, but it's still a good game.
Awesome. So yeah, that was a really cool reveal. It had a lot of people getting emotional and excited and just all kinds of stuff about that. So that was a really cool moment to watch. Got 4 new PSVR games shown, and I know you guys agree with me on this, but this was a really cool segment of the press conference. It was nice to see a segment dedicated to PSVR again, to know that there's lots of new games, lots of cool games coming out for it. One of them, Bravo Team, a co-op tactical shooter that looks pretty badass, Brent, by Supermassive themselves, so the people behind Until Dawn. And this game's confirmed to be taking advantage of the PS aim controller. You mentioned it when you were watching the video that you thought that was something that was being taken into account on this one. You were absolutely right. The PS aim is a part of this game. So that, dude, a tactical shooter like that with a bunch of people with PS aims, that sounds pretty sweet.
So my understanding from what I had read that this is not a multiplayer game in terms of PvP. This is just a cooperative 2-player cooperative experience, which I hope is just kind of like the door opening up to more of a PvP setting with this type of game. Maybe it's something that can add down the line. Maybe this is just it's a cover-based 2-player co-op game. So I thought this was going to be SOCOM because before the show there was a trademark that went out discussing Bravo Team, and I was like, oh my god, SOCOM Bravo Team, is this a new SOCOM game? It isn't, but this is right up my alley. It's making use of the PlayStation 4 aim controller, which is fantastic. I used it with Farpoint. Using it in this type of game it looks and sounds amazing. I can't wait to try it out. Cover-based 2-player co-op game. I'm down for that.
Yeah, I really want to play that too. Sounds really, really promising. We saw Moss as well, which is kind of a cute little mouse in this this fantasy world. It's a platformer, looks like, in VR, so that should be really cool to experience. We saw Star Child as well, another really cool looking science fiction game, a side-scrolling science fiction game. So that'll be interesting to see. The scale on that one looks pretty good, so that's going to lend well to VR. And then we saw The Inpatient, which is actually a prequel to Until Dawn.
Yes.
Takes place 60 years prior to the events of that game. So that's going to be really cool. In an asylum, that's going to be creepy as all hell. We saw, a Final Fantasy fishing game. We also saw Skyrim coming to PSVR during this segment too. So that's, man. And this is Skyrim, like the game, the whole
everything too, the DLC
whole entire
and
game.
Everything.
Yeah, that's incredible. To have a 200-hour RPG playable in PSVR. That's got to be a sight to behold, man. We talked about it on the stream, dude. Like, can you imagine just walking around that world, watching dragons fly over your head, shouting out the Dragonborn shouts and all that stuff? I mean, your wife's gonna think you're crazy, but you're gonna feel like a badass when you're down there yelling at dragons and shit. So that's yeah. So I don't know, Brent. What your thoughts on this VR segment, man?
I'm just glad they had a segment, and it didn't feature just smaller games. A lot of these are big AAA games that are being either ported to VR or built up for VR. So yeah, this was a great segment. I think that was a concern of mine going to this. I was like, man, if they just come in light with VR, I'm going to be concerned with the product itself. But they sent out, they had a section that was specifically designed for VR, and they showed some awesome games. Inpatient looks awesome. Skyrim looks great. Obviously, Bravo Team. So yeah, some great titles in there.
Yeah, Bender, were you digging this section?
Yeah, I was. Thought it looked pretty cool. That Star Child game looked interesting to me.
Yeah,
I like that they're doing a game that's not just a first person. I like they're doing a third person perspective game in VR. I think that'll work pretty well. So looking forward to that one.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I love that section too. I like that they showed a commitment to the game, and I mentioned Farpoint, kind of like the end of that first wave. Like that marked a clear, I think, ending of that first wave of PSVR titles that we had heard about. Now we're wrapping up for the second wave now, and they kind of came out at E3, set the tone for that. Like, look, here's some of the big games we've got coming out in the future, and we've seen a steady stream of VR games coming out over the weeks here. So that's promising for the future of the platform. And we didn't see some stuff we were hoping to see, like Golem, which we're all wondering about. But I thought what they showed was strong nonetheless. We also we saw Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite at the show as well. We saw a bunch of new characters in the trailer. So, from Doctor Strange to Hulk to Dante to Rocket to Gamora. Tons of characters revealed over the course of this trailer. They actually released the story demo of the game right after the event. So I downloaded that, played through it. It's awesome. Can't wait to play this game. It's got a really, really cool fighting system, it seems. There's lots to learn about it, lots of intricacies. It's got this interesting kind of auto combo system to kind of get you started, which I thought was interesting. They've got the Infinity Gems that they take into account. Just it seems like a really cool game. Looks great, runs great. Can't wait to play some more of that one in September. So Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is awesome. We saw Detroit come out with another great looking trailer. Another one that we were hoping to get a date for, but we just didn't. Really, really cool looking game. We saw another playable character, so we've now met all 3 playable characters, and yeah, this is really shaping up to be something special. I think just from what we've seen in this game, just an incredible looking title, and it really looks like this is going to take Quantic Dream's adventure games up to the next level. Did you get that same feeling, Brent?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it takes a lot of things that we've seen in their previous work, and it just expands on it. More choices, more different ways to carry out different scenes. It's a beautiful-looking game. Takes place in Detroit, so that's awesome for us.
Yeah.
But no, overall, another good presentation. But, again, it's kind of disappointing that we didn't even get a window for it.
Yeah, definitely. Bender, as a big-time adventure fan, do you like what you've seen from Detroit so far?
I do, yeah. It looks very intriguing. I'm looking forward to learning more about it. But yeah, from what I've seen from the past few trailers that they've shown, looks very interesting. I like the fact that you've got a whole bunch of different outcomes that can result from your decisions that you make throughout the game. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Visually, it looks great as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to checking that one out.
Yeah, trailer was great. I watched some playthroughs of the game outside of the trailer as well. Looks great. Moving on from there, Destiny 2, of course, had to make an appearance, and didn't see a lot from it. We saw a new story trailer, which I thought was cool. So we got our first kind of inside look at Dominus Gall. So we see kind of what makes him tick. He's and not only does he kind of look like Bane in the way in his mask, but his kind of whole demeanor, his kind of story is very similar to Bane as well, which is pretty cool. Yeah, he looks like he's going to be an awesome villain. He's already, I think, far and away the most interesting Destiny villain that we've seen so far, and we've only seen very few snippets of him. So really excited to see where they go with the story from here. But the story trailer was awesome. We saw our first glimpse of the PS exclusive content. So we got the Lake of Shadows strike, which confirms the Taken are going to be in this game. So that's another alien race we know is going to be in here. We got our first look at the Borealis sniper rifle, which is a sniper rifle which you can actually switch between the elemental damage on it on the fly. So that's going to be an awesome one to get a hold of. New armor, new gear, new ships. The typical stuff that we see from this game. This content will be on Xbox One and PC. At some point in the future, contrary to what some people were saying prior to that. So just keep that in mind. So Destiny, so we saw the trailer, we saw the PS exclusive content. The release date for the game moved up. It is now coming out on September 6th, which totally fucked all of our plans for the week, because it moved up from Friday release to a Wednesday release. We also got a PC release date as well, which is coming in October 24th or something like that. So we now have a solid release date for that, roughly a month and a half after the console release. Destiny 2, 30 frames per second on Xbox One X, confirmed. And so, yeah.
Surprising, absolutely nobody. I mean, Destiny came out and Luke Smith basically said, look, this game is CPU bound. Unless it's a PC, it's going to be 30 frames. Okay? I mean,
Nah,
Yeah.
that's not right. The
That's
PS4
not right.
Pro
The
is
Xbox
holding
One
it back.
X is the equivalent of a 1080 Ti, and it should be running 90 frames per second. Look, it's an iteration of the Xbox One. It's got this. The CPU is slightly buffered up. I mean, it's just this is it. It's 30 frames. Deal with it. Where's the emoji with the glasses? Just deal with it.
Also, wasn't it Phil who said that gamers don't care about 60 frames?
Sure did.
So I think that gives us a little hint to the future of the Xbox One X. If we don't care about 60 frames, how many of these games are we going to see with 60 frames?
That's a great question. That's a very good point, too.
The Xbox One X is about 4K. It's always been about 4K, dude. We've talked about this ad nauseum for the last however many months that we've talked about this. It's not only bound by the restrictions of the CPU, but it's bound by the restrictions of the Xbox One and the Xbox One S. This is a system that's part of the same family of consoles. So you can't just go around for a lot of these games that have multiplayer now. You can't just have one frame rate on the Xbox One X and one frame rate on the S. It's not going to work. They all got to coexist and play the same game. So you can't have one guy playing a shooter at 60 frames, the other guy's at 30 frames. The 30 frames guy's going to get waxed because he's moving at half speed. The other guy's twice as fast. He's going to beat him to the punch every single time. So we know that that's the case. So we knew this coming in, that this was a platform about 4K. This was about the increased resolution. This should not be a surprise that we're talking about 30 frames games. Anthem's going to be a 30 frames game with everything that's going on in that game. It's not going to be a 60 frames game. You know, I just think we need to just come to grips with reality on this. Like, this is a 4K machine, and that's what this machine's about. It's not about 60 frames. So
I will tell you this, though, man. That PC demo they put up on Digital Foundry of Destiny 2, that was sexy as hell. That thing looks sexy.
yeah, and that's exactly why I'm not watching it. So I watched a video they posted a couple weeks back after the Destiny reveal event where they interpolated 60 frames into the video. So they kind of, with whatever machine they used, they were able to double the frame rate from the footage that they captured. So I could see a simulated image of what that game would look like in 60 frames. And I'm just like, oh, man, I got to turn this off. I can't even watch this.
Yeah, the PC version of the video they put up there was just astonishing. I mean, it just, and that's impressive considering, you know, this. I don't know how much experience Bungie has on PC, but look, I mean, it looked great. I mean, they were talking about it. They said it's a beautiful image and it runs smooth and there's a lot of stuff going on. So PC gamers, be excited because you're going to get a phenomenal looking game that runs great.
Well, shouts out to Vicarious Visions, I believe, is the one doing the PC port, right?
Yep.
So they're the ones that are kind of grinding away, trying to make sure that this is the PC game that the PC gaming crowd wants, and from all accounts, that's what it seems like they're doing, man. Everything I've heard about the PC version has been great. Uncapped frame rates, the 21.9 support, mouse and keyboard, customizable controls, all of the different little tweaks that you can make to the graphical settings, like that's all there. So sounds like the PC crowds are going to be very, very excited when Destiny 2 arrives over there. Bender, let me pull you in here, man. September 6th now is the release date on this. So talk to me a little bit about what we saw from Destiny here. Obviously, I don't think we can get any more excited about this game. It's not possible. We're taking days off work. We're planning to retire the site in order to play the game. I mean, it's just a lot of things going on around Destiny 2. What'd you think about what you saw from the story trailer, man? What'd you think about what you saw from the exclusive content? If you want to hop in about any of this other garbage we were talking about, you can as well. But talk to me.
I like you said, I cannot get more excited about Destiny 2. I can't wait to play it. It was weird to see that the release date moved up by 2 days.
Strange.
Just such a strange adjustment. But yeah, that's 2 days earlier we get to play it, I guess. So that's cool. The story trailer looks cool that we saw. Gaul looks like a cool villain. Some of the weapons we saw were cool. I think that was the trailer where we saw like there was a hunter like that had some sort of heavy weapon that shot out a bunch of like little rockets or something.
Yeah,
that looked really cool. Whatever that was. Yeah, so I can't wait to see what sort of new weapons they come up with, and you know all the new abilities with the new subclasses and all that stuff. So yeah, I can't wait for Destiny 2, and the beta's pretty soon. Within the next month or so.
A month from today.
July 17th or 18th. 18th, yep.
Yeah,
So.
Oh yeah, can't wait. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Indeed, we're getting close, fellas. Close to the end of our gaming lives. once Destiny 2 arrives on September 6th now, man. So yeah. So that'll be out, obviously, PS4, Xbox One, PC, about a month or so later. So we have that to look forward to. And just to clarify, too, just this doesn't mean that there won't be any 4K, like 60 frames games on the Xbox One X. We know there will be. We know Forza is going to hit that number. I expect that from a lot of the first-party stuff. But just don't expect every single game to be at 60 frames a second. All right, moving on from there. We got 2 big games that we need to talk about now that kind of finished out Sony's show. First of all, God of War. We have an early 2018 date on this now. And Brent, goddamn, this game looked crazy. It looked great, man. So we saw a lengthy trailer. We saw some of this fast-paced, axe-based combat from our new look Kratos. We saw some of the big-time enemies that we've come to expect in this franchise. We saw some of the interactions with his son and how he's going to factor into the gameplay. Mm-hmm. Watched a really cool panel on Jeff Keighley's show dedicated to kind of the creation of this God of War and some of the stuff that went into creating the child character in the game and how they wanted to make sure he wasn't going to be a burden to the player. So that was a really interesting show. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the trailer, we saw the world serpent rear his head, and looks like some stuff was about to go down from there. Mm-hmm. But absolutely loved what I saw, dude. We got the early 2018 date. This is what I expected from this game. And we heard at the beginning of this year that the game was playable beginning to end. So we knew from there it was a lot of polish and tweaking. Obviously, a game of this caliber, of this magnitude, takes a long time to kind of put the finishing touches on. But I was anticipating an early 2018 game, and this is just another one that's, sliding into this rapidly expanding early 2018 lineup. What did you think about this God of War trailer, dude?
Oh, dude, it just says everything I want out of a God of War trailer. I mean, epic combat. I mean, scope and scale is through the roof. The enemies and the villains look great. I love the interaction between Kratos and his son. It almost looks like it might play a little bit how The Last of Us played with Joe and Ellie. Obviously, little Kratos gets into the mix, stabs a couple enemies in the face with a knife, so he is no stranger to the violent nature of his father. But the impressive thing that Corey Barlog a minute afterwards was that demo was running on a base model PS4.
Yeah,
that was not on the Pro. That was a base model PS4 running that demo,
which is insane.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show there's still a lot that they can get out of these systems, especially out of the base models. So, thought it was a phenomenal looking trailer. That game shaping up very, very nicely. That's going to be a huge title in early 2018. And from there, fellas, we had the big finale of the show. And I tell you what, this Spider-Man PS4 demo, just incredible. Like face melting like demo that we saw here. Easily one of the best demos I've ever seen at E3. And am I biased because I'm a huge comic book and Spider-Man fan? Maybe, I don't know. But I thought the trailer was just absolutely phenomenal. I couldn't even believe this was like a video game that you could actually play. Like it takes cues from the Arkham franchise clearly, and some of the combat and some of the stealth mechanics, the cinematic feel, and the way this story mission was curated. Like, we know this is an open world game.
Yep.
So that you're going to be able to get out in the world and swing around. But if all of the story missions are as well scripted and as well choreographed as this, like, we're in for a hell of an experience in this game. Mm-hmm. But just an extremely cinematic mission with some just dynamite moments. That helicopter chase through the New York skyline was phenomenal. Some of the combat was awesome. I loved the web mechanics. The web slinging is all physics based. Insomniac has said, so you have to attach to all the items in the gaming world. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. I can't say enough good things about this game demo, Brent. I mean, seriously, dude, this was just an amazing experience to watch this in this lengthy, like 10-minute demo. I cannot wait for this game. This is absolutely my most anticipated game for 2018. No question about it. Talk to me about this Spider-Man game, dude.
Yeah, I'll let you loosen your pants up a little bit. The things that stuck out to me, first of all, was just the crisp image and how it transitioned from like basically kind of a cutscene and then you see Spider-Man just kind of overlooking these enemies, and then the HUD appears, and you're just like, oh my god, this is the visual from in-game. I mean, this is actual gameplay we're seeing.
Yeah.
Beautiful image. And one thing I did like about that we saw in the trailer, and it was confirmed afterwards, is Spider-Man will not kill anybody in this game. So when you see Spider-Man as he's attacking these enemies, there was a couple of moments where like he knocks somebody off off the edge of a building. I was like, oh, he's just gonna plummet. And he actually makes a couple maneuvers with his webs and actually brings the enemy back on and secures them on the back on the building. Yeah. And that will play out accordingly during the game. The AI, the system physics is all set to go where if you knock someone off a building, Spider-Man will react accordingly and save that guy. He will not let anybody. He won't kill anybody. I think that's really cool that they added that in there.
Yeah, I love that too. Bender, you're a huge Spider-Man fan like myself. Just an absolutely incredible demo to watch that play out, man. What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I loved it. I thought this was a fantastic demonstration of what the game is. I thought it looked amazing. No pun intended. Ha. But yeah, I like the way you can kind of sneak around. They had like different takedowns, kind of like on Batman Arkham games, where you could like web people up, or he put some sort of thing on the wall or something where like when the guy walked by it webbed him to the box or something like that.
Yes,
I thought that was super cool. The whole Spider-Man vibe was intact with this game. I mean, you had fast-paced action combat. You had Spider-Man making funny quips and everything. He's a very witty and sarcastic character. So that's really cool. Epic boss battles. I mean, there's some really cool stuff going on in there. The villain they showed in there, I thought at first it was going to be this was somebody new that we had never seen before. Apparently, it's a guy called Mr. Negative. Yeah. I've never heard of him because I guess he's a relatively new villain in the Marvel Universe. According to Wikipedia, his first appearance was in 2008. So I'm more familiar with some of the older Spider-Man lore. So I'm not familiar with this guy, but looked pretty cool. Looks like a cool villain. So I'm sure that's just one of the baddies that you'll face in this game. I'm sure there's going to be other multiple guys that you'll have to fight, which is typical for those games. But everything I saw about it, I loved. People, I mean, a lot of people online were upset about like some of the quick time events, quote unquote, that you see in that demo. I'm like, I'm sure that's not going to be a big part of the game. It's probably going to be a small, every now and then type of thing, which is fine. But everything else looked like it was just, fast-paced gameplay and everything. So I'm down for it. I can't wait. I was already excited about this game, but even not seeing any gameplay, but now after seeing that, I'm like 10 times more excited. So I can't wait to play this game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's another one of those things where you can't win, man. It's like people are always like, man, I wish I could play those cutscenes. Like those are really cool. Okay, well, we'll let you play the cutscene, but now you don't want to play it because it's a quick time event or whatever. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, with everything that's happening in those cutscenes, I don't know if it'd be like possible to play through it without dying over and over again. I mean, you're on a crane that's falling from like the sky. I mean, do you know how hard it would be to actually try to play that out and do everything he did? It would be damn near. I feel like that would be damn near impossible. So yes, it's a QTE, but I looked at that scene. I was like, man, if I had to play that out at that speed. And no, there's just no way I'd be able to do it. It'd be just ridiculous. So I like the quick time events because this is a cinematic experience. This is a Spider-Man game, and a quick time event does not take the excitement out of it for me. I mean, watching that trailer, seeing the quick time events, I was like, man, this is still pretty sweet. So I'm not bothered by the QTEs.
Yeah, I don't get that whole thing. Once again, it's just people bitching just to bitch, just trying to find something to bitch about. It is what it is, though. Yeah, but just man, I honestly just couldn't believe what I was watching. just thought that was just a fantastic gameplay demo. We know we're gonna get some alternate Spidey suits in there as well, so that's awesome. Man, I cannot wait for that game. Insomniac, you are outdoing yourselves with this game. I mean, this is really something. And they said too that this story is gonna be very sprawling. So we saw Wilson Fisk in there. We saw Mr. Negative. This is just one very small portion of a very large Spider-Man story that they're telling in this game. So we're gonna get all kinds of cool villains. I can't wait, dude. Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery is epic, and I can't wait to see who they pull in and get into this story. Just beyond excited for that game. So I feel like it's probably gonna be late 2018. Unfortunately, we'll have to hold out for a while. But yeah, just man, can't wait for that game. A couple of the nuggets here real quick. Gran Turismo Sport has a release window. It'll be out this fall. Matterfall is out in August. Hell yeah. Knack 2 has a release date in September. Undertale coming to PS4 and Vita. That's sweet. I've been waiting to play that game. Super Hot, another cool one that I've been looking forward to playing. Coming to PS4 and PSVR. That's going to be a really cool experience. And PS4 sales have now exceed 60 million units officially. So congratulations, Sony, on that. Brent, let's hop into some Nintendo stuff now.
Yeah, buddy. The first standout thing that we see at this press conference, I think it was something that we weren't expecting, and Bender is still not convinced that this will happen, but Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is coming out this fall. Bender, are you buying that?
I am definitely buying it. I'm really excited about this game because I love the first two.
But are you buying the release date?
Oh, that's what you're saying. I will believe that the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is out this year when it's in my hands. I'm pretty confident this is going to get pushed to next year because, I mean, like Ben has said before, they just did Xenoblade Chronicles X. It just came out, less than 2 years ago or something, however long ago that was. I can't believe that they're already ready to release another one. I feel like this one is going to be pushed back a little bit, but whenever it does come out, I'm definitely going to get it.
Wouldn't it be funny if they announced the delay? They're like, yeah, this game will be out spring 2019.
Hope they don't push it back that far.
Wow. I guess you guys are really messing with us. Ben, were you pretty surprised by that release date or window?
Yeah, I was very surprised. Like Bender said, I mean, Xenoblade Chronicles X came out basically a year and a half ago from where we stand today. So the fact that this game, which is a sprawling RPG epic, which is, upwards of what, Bender, 70, 80, 90 hours in these games. So the fact that they were able to crank another one of these out in a year and a half, 2 years is pretty wild. So I don't know what the studio looks like over there at Monolith. Maybe they've expanded or they have couple different teams working on games over there, but yeah, really surprised that this is a this year game. But I watched it on the Treehouse stream. They had a good 40-45 minute demo of the game, and it was lengthy. So they've clearly got a lot done in this game. It looked like it was from a finished product what they were playing there. So I don't know. It might hit this date against all odds.
I hope it does. These games are huge. I logged over 200 hours in Xenoblade Chronicles X. So, yeah, there's a lot to do in these games.
These are the types of games I look forward to have on Switch to be able to play on the go. The Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the Skyrims, these massive JRPGs or RPGs in general. Having those on the Switch on the go is going to be incredibly appealing. And if it comes out this fall, I'm going to be glad it's on the Switch because to have to play this game at home with all these other games, with Destiny 2 out, I'm going to be happy that I have Xenoblades on the go or the ability to play it on the go because there's just no way to be able to play that on the big screen with Destiny 2 out. Yeah. So Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was the kind of the show opener that kind of got everyone hyped up with that release date. After that, we saw Kirby is making a return, that cute little pink cream puff that Frankie waxes on poetically all the time. But this is coming to Switch in 2018. This looks like there'll be a 4-player co-op based on what we saw in the video.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so maybe that's something we can all hop into as long as it's online. We can all throw on our headset and plug it into our phone. And
as long as the app's available.
Yeah, as long as the app is out by then. Hopefully it's out by then. After that, we found out that a core Pokemon game is in development for the Switch. Now, it's interesting because we talked about this on the stream. We were like, is this Sun and Moon or Stars or whatever the hell they are? Or is this something new? And I'm still inclined to believe that this is going to be something different. This is going to be a whole new Pokemon game. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
As far as this game, when they were talking about it on the stream, when they mentioned it, it sounded like he said that the game was at least a year out or something along those lines. If it's only a year, I could see them just doing the next in the Sun and Moon franchise. But the thing that gets me about that though is they're already remaking those with the Ultra Sun and the Ultra Moon.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me lean towards maybe this is a brand new experience, because I don't know how many times they want to remake Sun and Moon. They would have already done it 2 times within a 1 year period. So I'm actually with you on that. This probably is going to be a new experience when all is said and done.
Bender?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. For it to be so far out, I feel like they probably are starting with something different, and they could probably use some of the assets that they use for Sun and Moon and just port them to the Switch, but just give it a new story or whatever. So yeah, I know a lot of people are going to be excited about that one though.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is.
cannot understate how gigantic that game is going to be. Like for the Switch, like they better have their supply channels in order when that game comes out. Because if they haven't switched over from 3DS to Switch before that Pokemon game comes out, there's gonna be a whole lot of people that are picking up the system for that game. So as long as they keep it specifically on Switch and they don't make it for the 3DS as well, that game is going to do gangbusters. It's gonna be a really huge game for them.
Mm-hmm.
Nice,
definitely.
And then we came on to the most emotionally charged part of the stream, where we literally got a title card.
I don't know if Bender can take a Metroid announcement, honestly, after yesterday.
No, he couldn't. I don't think he could handle it.
Uh-oh.
Oh my
this?
god.
No way.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah!
No.
Are you kidding me?
No.
There you go, Bender.
Yeah!
And that was it. But it was a pretty big title card, Bender. We now know that Metroid Prime 4 is in development for the Nintendo Switch. It is not being developed by Retro. No 3 points for you. But, buddy, my man, you finally are getting a Metroid game that you want. Talk to me how you're feeling, man. You've had some time to kind of bring it down a little bit and gather yourself.
No, I'm just as excited. Yeah. No, no, yeah, I am super excited about that. I love the Metroid Prime games. All 3 of them were fantastic. 2 little less than the other than 1 and 3, but I loved all 3 of them regardless. Super cool games, very atmospheric. First person shooter exploration type of thing. Mm-hmm. I'm super pumped that they're doing a 4th one, because those games are so great. A little concerned that it's not developed by Retro. I don't know what this new development team is going to be able to do, but it is being overseen by the director of the Metroid Prime series. So whatever it turns out to be, I'm sure it'll be really cool. And to be able to have it on the Switch, play it on the go, or play it at home, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait for that one.
Bender, I was going to ask you about that. Do you think Nintendo would entrust Metroid Prime with a developer who wasn't up to the snuff? But then I'm thinking back to Other M and how that turned out. Obviously, that's a different situation. Team Ninja's a good developer too. That game just didn't pan out the way they wanted it to. Like I don't know. Do you think that there's any chance that the team that they would give this to wouldn't do this series justice, a beloved series like this?
I mean, maybe a slight chance, but I don't think that's gonna be how it plays out. I think it is gonna be good. The thing about Metroid Other M is, from a gameplay perspective, the game was fun. It was good. It played well. It's just like everything else around the gameplay was lackluster. The voice acting was terrible. The story was super weak. There were a couple of points in the game that were just didn't really click with me. But I mean, as far as playing the game, I mean, it was fast paced. It was fun. It was a cool Metroid game. But it just everything else just didn't really click. So I feel like they could really hit a home run with this one. If they really stay true to the Metroid Prime feel and everything, give us some new areas to explore, have a cool story and everything. I wouldn't mind if they do voice acting again like they did in Prime 3. I thought that was good. I know some people didn't like it, but I did. So if they do that again, that'd be fine with me. But Yeah, I think it's most likely going to be a pretty good game.
I hope so for your sake.
Yeah.
Ben, are you surprised that this isn't being developed by Retro? And what the hell are they working on?
I don't know if I would say surprised. I thought it could have went 50-50 on what they were working on.
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing about this announcement is now it means Retro's working on something else.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not doing Metroid Prime. So hopefully the team that's working on Metroid Prime, hopefully the series is in good hands and they do a good job with that series. But now that lets Retro do something else. And I don't know, I'm kind of with Bender on this one. It'd be nice to see them do a new IP. To see them be able to spread their wings and do something new. They're obviously a talented studio over there. I don't, if they go back and do another Donkey Kong, I'm not sure that's what people want from them at this point. I think if anything, either they can hop in and resurrect another dormant franchise for them, or do a new IP altogether. I think that's what I'd like to see out of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Same here.
Cool. Well, hopefully we'll find out soon. But how far out do you think Metroid Prime is? I mean, why do you think they kind of revealed it so early, Ben?
I think we're years out from this game. Reggie, Reggie he was basically like, look, people have been asking for Metroid for a really long time, so we just wanted to get out there. Like, look, we're making a new Metroid game. We just want you to know that so you can get off our backs. It's basically the vibe I got from it. Like, look, man, we're making a Metroid game. Relax. But the fact that we only got a title screen, I mean, we got to be at least 2, if not 3 years out from this at the very least.
Yeah, even if this game comes out in 2019, even if we have to wait that long, I think it was a good move for them to give us this title screen, because that does it it does satisfy me as a fan, as a Metro fan, to know that it's coming, and they're not like because for years now it's just been like, oh well, people have been crying out for Metroid, and they're like, well, whatever, or we'll talk about that at a later date, or we have nothing to comment on at this time. It's like, well, you know what? That's that's frustrating for the fans to think that you're ignoring one of their favorite franchises. So I'm actually happy that they did this, even if it's years away. I'm glad to know that it exists and that it is coming. So that way I don't have to think that this series is dead or never going to return.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And that's what this announcement was for, right? It was for fans of the series. It was to let them know, like, look, we hear you. We're making a Metroid game. It might not come out anytime soon, but we've heard your cries, so you guys can kind of relax now. We're going to develop the game, and it's going to come out at some point in the future. But I mean, if you don't care about Metroid, you don't care about this announcement. So this announcement was for those people who are clamoring for Metroid, and I think you're right. It probably was a good idea in the long run to go ahead and put it out there.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't the last Metroid announcement. Then we saw a Metroid game on the 3DS. We got Metroid Samus Returns. This is coming out for the 3DS. There's a new Metroid amiibo. But Bender, real quick thoughts on Samus Returns on the 3DS.
That was very unexpected, but it looked awesome. It's going to give me a reason to pick up my 3DS again, because I haven't really touched that thing since the Switch came out. I definitely see it from Ben's point of view, though. I wish it was coming out on the Switch so the people who have a Switch could play it. But, I mean, I do have a 3DS, so I'll definitely go back and pick it up and play this game. Yeah, it's going to be, it looks like a really, really cool port of, it's like a remake of Metroid 2, which originally came out on the Game Boy. So it's a game a lot of people probably haven't played. So I'm looking forward to this one. It looks really, really cool.
So we also got a couple of announcements after that. We got a new Yoshi game that's headed to the Switch in 2018. We also got another look at the Breath of the Wild DLC. We got some details on that. You can check all that out on our live reaction video and our review. We talk about that a little bit more in depth. But I do want to come back to Super Mario Odyssey. We got a release date for October 27th. So coming out this fall. The game looks cool. I don't know about Mario possessing humans. That's strange, but
It's a little weird, yeah.
yeah, that's kind of weird. But Mario can basically possess everything with his hat. I mean, he's possessing Tyrannosaurus Rexes. He's possessing everything, including humans. Again, weird. But Ben, we found out that this game will actually feature co-op. How does the co-op work in this game? Is it just simple drop in, drop out?
It's something with the hat. It's something where the other the other player controls the hat some kind of way. I'm not sure exactly how it works. But
so this isn't like traditional 2-player co-op. Like
no.
I jump in with Luigi and we run around together.
No.
Oh.
It's kind of the Mario co-op that we've seen in the 3D Mario games over the years. Like we saw it with the Wii, where you could use the Wiimote to point at stars or whatever and pick them up as somebody else was playing as Mario in Mario Galaxy. So it's going to be one of those kind of just peripheral co-op modes. I don't know, Bender, maybe you've heard some more about exactly how it's going to work, but it's something to do with controlling the hat, right? The other character controls Cappy or something.
That would make sense. I haven't heard much about it, but it would make sense if maybe Mario throws his hat into an enemy, then maybe the other player can control the enemy, move him around or something.
Maybe something like that, yeah.
Something like that, possibly. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these Mario games are largely single-player experiences, so any 2-player mode is just going to be kind of not very deep. But that's fine, because I mean, I like Mario games for their single-player thing, so... You know.
Now, boys, obviously you're really excited for Super Mario Odyssey. I would say this is probably your most anticipated Nintendo game this year. How do you like that window, October 27th? Do you like that release date?
Man, I mean, October 27th. October 27th in particular is a brutal day. I think Mario Odyssey shares that release date with Assassin's Creed Origins and Wolfenstein 2 among other titles. But yeah, I mean, Mario's a game where it really doesn't matter what date it comes out. He kind of supersedes anything else that comes out around him. So, you know, whether it's Assassin's Creed or Wolfenstein or whoever it is, whoever is foolish enough to come out on the same date as Mario, you know, Mario kind of trumps all. So, yeah, so October 27th is a fine date for that. Comes out prior to Black Friday, gets him out there for the holiday rush, which is exactly what Nintendo wants. So I think that's a great release date for it. And like I said, he'll be unfazed by any other game that's out around that time. So he'll go out there, he'll do his thing. He'll sell millions of copies. He'll sell millions of Switches for the holidays. And Nintendo's going to be in a very, very good position. Because they're gonna have a machine out this holiday that has a brand new Mario and a new Zelda game within the same year. So yeah, they're going to do very well.
And we also found out Mario's going to be heading to the 3DS as well. We got Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga Remake. Bender, can you tell me anything about the Mario Luigi Superstar Saga?
Yeah, this is a remake of the original Mario and Luigi game. Originally came out on Game Boy Advance. It's a RPG where you're playing as Mario and Luigi at the same time. So you press A to jump as Mario, B to jump as Luigi. So when it's turn-based battles, so you know you press A to attack as Mario, B as Luigi. It's got a really cool art style, really cool good sense of humor. It's very funny. They said that this was like redone visuals, but it didn't look any different to me when I saw it. It looks like Game Boy Advance graphics. And then I think the only thing they added was this Bowser's Minions mode where you control a group of Bowser's Minions and attack other of Bowser's Minions in the turn-based battles. Looked kind of weird. Didn't look like anything that was going to like really change the game too much. I might pick it up anyway just because I love that game and I might want to re-experience it, but the Bowser's Minions mode isn't going to be the reason I pick it up at all.
Your 3DS going to be busy, man.
I know, right?
You have to carry around the Switch and the 3DS.
Now, make a difficult choice day by day.
Now, my question is now with the new 2DS coming out, will most of these games, other than the ones that say, you know, for new 3DS only, will most of these games run on the new 2DS? Only it just doesn't have 3D, right? I believe
even the ones that say new 3DS only are also going to run on the new 2DS. That's why it's called the new 2DS, because it's going to have the processing power of the new 3DS, but it just doesn't have the 3D. So it's got the clamshell design and everything. It's got everything the new 3DS has except for the 3D.
Okay.
So yeah, I that. You know, they're obviously trying to, you know, push out that system, get people to buy it. So, you know, any of those games are going to work on this new 2DS.
Bender is 100% correct.
Yeah, the wheels are turning. That's why I'm just asking. Just the wheels are turning. But moving on from that, we also saw Sushi Striker announced for the 3DS, along with we found out Pikmin 4 is progressing along. So there's that.
Cool.
And Ben, we got Reggie speaking this week. He had a lot of stuff to talk about. I want to recap some of the stuff that he brought up.
Yeah, I mean, he said basically the typical stuff that we hear from Reggie whenever we get into these conversations. It's like, yeah, what's going on with third parties? Yes, we want all of the biggest third party titles on Switch.
Question,
Yeah.
Ben. Is Battlefront 2 coming to Switch?
No.
Call of Duty?
Nope.
Destiny 2?
Nope.
Assassin's Creed?
Nope.
Anthem?
Nope.
What big AAA game do we got other than Skyrim? Other than a 5-year, 7-year-old game, what else is coming so far?
The only thing is Mario Rabbids. That's
Cool.
technically that's a third party game. 'Cause
Not
it's
good enough,
developed by
Reggie.
Ubisoft.
Not good enough, Reggie. Get to work.
What third party games can they put on the Switch other than stuff like Rabbids that's developed for it? Like that's really what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
They just the machine is vastly different from the PS4 and the Xbox One. It's just apples and oranges, man. So, don't know how many of those big third parties you'll be able to score over there, Reggie, but good luck with that. FIFA's on there as well. So
There you go.
you have that. A different version of FIFA. This is a Switch
NBA
FIFA.
2K18. Okay,
There you go.
So we got
So
some
there's
stuff. Okay.
a few of them on there.
Cool. All that sports ball stuff that Bender likes. Cool.
all the sports ball stuff. So obviously Reggie was asked this week about Switch production. Of course, he said they're trying to ramp it up. We'll believe it when we see it. Also been some chat about virtual console. So obviously we're all wondering about the online, about the virtual console, about the voice chat, about all this stuff that we want to hear about Nintendo's platform, but they just won't tell us about for whatever reason. So this was on Kotaku. So they asked Reggie about the possibility of the virtual console for Switch, separate from whatever Nintendo is planning to do with its $20 online service, which has recently been delayed to 2018 and is set to include a subscription-based library of legacy games, as we've talked about in the past. Kotaku asked him the question, have you guys said if there's going to be, aside from all that, a virtual console experience? Reggie's first line was, we have not used the term virtual console. Editor's note. In a press release in February, Nintendo did use the term virtual console games will not be available on Nintendo Switch at launch. We will share more information in the future, though not in a way that necessarily describes a specific plan of service. But clearly they've used the term virtual console in the past. Reggie knows what we're talking about. He's just being facetious here, I hope. So Kotaku continued, do you plan to sell your older games to people? People got used to that with Wii and Wii U as downloads. Reggie said, what we've said is that as we communicate the specifics of the Nintendo Switch online service, then at that point we'll communicate what it is we're doing with our legacy content. Kotaku, it'd be great to be able to download and play some GameCube games on my Switch, Reggie. I'm just telling you. Reggie responded, I see a lot of consumers hoping and wishing for that online. So, as is typically the case with Reggie, he said a bunch of stuff to say nothing. So, that's really what it comes down to with these questions. Just people trying to get information out of him, and it's a lot of we're thinking about doing this, we're thinking about doing that. He did say that more Wii U games could come over to the Switch. Once again, maybe not. We'll have to see how it all pans out. But they've got to be thinking about stuff like Smash Brothers or Mario Maker or some of these games like Pokken Tournament, which is an online game which has a community built around it. It's one of these evergreen games. Like they've got to be thinking about bringing more games over like that. So I'd be very surprised if we don't see some more of those Wii U games show up on Switch. Now, how about this one? Nintendo will support the 3DS beyond 2018. Beyond 2018. Bender, I really thought we were going to get to a point where they were going to kind of leave this thing, but the way Reggie's positioning this is that he's basically saying that 3DS is their portable system and the Switch is their home console. It just happens to be that you can take that experience with you when you're on the go. So, how long do you think this is going to hold up, man? I really thought we were going to get to a point where the entire Nintendo force was developing on the Switch, and that was, the thing that was most exciting about the device. But we're seeing Metroid on 3DS. We're seeing Superstar Saga on 3DS. We're seeing support beyond 2018. So that's another year and a half of 3DS support. Help me out here, man. What's going on?
I don't know. I mean, I guess like we've talked about in the past, maybe they just aren't ready to give up on the 3DS because they know that it has a huge install base, and they want to be able to still come out with games that people are going to buy for it, and maybe they're not ready to put all their eggs in the Switch basket. I believe that at some point that is going to happen. I mean, we are going to get to that point where they're going to have to let the 3DS sail off into the sunset and put more all their development support towards the Switch. I don't know. I just thought that would happen sooner, though. That just seems a little unusual that they're kind of hanging on to the 3DS for so long. I mean, it's been like 6 years that the 3DS has been a thing. Or longer by now.
Yeah, it's been a while now.
Yeah, so I guess they're gonna let it ride for a full decade before they let it go. I don't know.
I mean, how long are we gonna have to hear this narrative of the Switch is a home console and not a portable system? Like how long is that gonna go on for?
I don't know.
It's a portable system, right? You can take it with you wherever you go. Isn't that the definition of a portable?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know there's people out there who only use it as a portable, who don't even play it at home. So, it's kind of weird.
Maybe Nintendo's just trying to delay the Switch store from being overrun by titles such as "I Am an Air Traffic Controller, Detroit Metro" or something along those lines. Maybe they just aren't ready for all that shovelware to come over to the Switch. Like, let's keep the store nice and clean with the AAA games, and we'll let the 3DS host all the shovelware.
Yeah, hopefully they continue to curate the store. They've done a good job so far of keeping that kind of stuff off the store, so hopefully it stays that way.
Hopefully.
So that's going to do it for the Nintendo section. We got a couple more things we want to touch on that happened just recently, and we, before we get into our E3 prediction wrap up. First up, IO Interactive. This is great news. Is officially an indie studio, and not only that, they've been able to retain the Hitman IP.
Wow.
This is awesome. This is awesome on Square Enix's part, and this is great news for not only the Hitman franchise, but for IO Interactive. They're able to keep their baby and continue to kick out content, and they don't have to worry about dealing with the publisher. They're an independent studio now. I mean, that is really, really awesome news, Ben.
Yeah. It sounds like, too, that maybe this upcoming week we'll get some more information about the future of Hitman or where they're planning to go, maybe with a season 2 of the franchise, or to let us know at least what the plan is for the franchise moving forward. I wonder, too, if they'll go out and shop for publishers. Now, do you think they'll actually try to publish the game themselves as well? Or do you think they might try and get in line with like a Deep Silver or a 505 or one of these maybe second-tier publishers that would help them get the Hitman game out? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's probably what they'll end up doing. Obviously Hitman doesn't need a massive publisher. I mean, it's Hitman. People are going to buy it. So they could theoretically go with a Deep Silver, a 505 Games, and still not worry about nobody not knowing about Hitman coming out. So I just think this is really awesome that Square Enix was, allowed them to retain the rights to the Hitman IP. I mean, that's not an easy decision by a publisher for a franchise like Hitman. I mean, yeah, it didn't do the number Square Enix hoped it had done, but it's still a Hitman, and it still has some cash. So that's awesome that they allowed IO to retain that IP, man.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, dude, because they could have easily been like,
look,
look, we're going to hold this thing hostage, unless you've got, just throwing out an arbitrary number. Unless you've got $20 million, like, we're not giving you the rights to the IP. Or
we're just going to give this to some developer and just have them hash out a bunch of Hitman stuff. I mean, they obviously know that IO is very, they love their baby. They love Hitman. And for them to do this is just, I think this is one of the few things you don't hear about in the industry, a publisher giving up an IP like that. Obviously, they didn't give it up, but the fact that they let IO retain it is just awesome.
Yeah. It's I think at the end of the day, it kind of everything just kind of worked out, probably in the best case scenario for all parties involved. So so that's awesome, dude. I'm really glad that they were able to keep the studio together. You hear stories like this, you're worried about them disbanding and a lot of this talent getting split up and having to go find new jobs. So the fact that they're able to keep the studio together, retain the rights to a game that they love, that they have a lot of passion for, is awesome.
Absolutely. I want to stick with you, Ben, real quick. We got a first look at Dragon Ball Fighter Z at E3 as well. What are your thoughts on Dragon Ball Fighter Z, man?
Man, cannot wait for this game. I mean, you talk about a beautiful looking game. This literally looks like an episode of the cartoon in action. Fast-paced fighting system. This is a fighting game developed by Arc System Works. This is the people behind Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear. Two fantastic two-dimensional fighting games, and somehow they've gotten their hands on the Dragon Ball license now, and they're making a fighting game out of it, and it looks just absolutely kick-ass, dude. Cannot wait for this game. I mean, seriously good-looking stuff. I'm psyched.
Hey, Bender, how psyched are you?
I actually thought it looked awesome too.
Shut up, Bender.
Seriously,
No,
I'm a Dragon Ball Z fan. I love that show, and I like that they didn't, because I've played some of the other Dragon Ball Z games, and I like that they didn't use those quasi, polygonal character models or whatever. It looked hand drawn. It looked like an episode of the show. I think that was really cool. I actually think this game looks awesome.
Attaboy, Bender.
You were my one guy, Bender, that I could snuggle up with when these idiots would talk about fighting games. And you just put your master sword right in my back and twisted it. Oh,
yeah,
I'm alone on an island.
Thought you were gonna do the Jack Palance 1989 Batman. You're my number one guy right there.
Yeah, he was. He was my number one guy. Just left me out there to die. All right, Bender, I guess I'll come back to you now and talk about Life is Strange for a moment. No, Life is Strange, Before the Storm announced that we're getting 3 episodes in August. Now, it's one thing worth noting is Ashley Birch will not be back to voice the character due to that strike, man. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm a little sad to hear that she's not going to be voicing Chloe this time. She did an awesome job in the first one. Hopefully they get somebody who sounds enough like her, I guess. She did say on Twitter that she is going to be consulting on the character, though, so that's cool. So we'll still get that Chloe vibe. I'm sure she'll still say hella a lot. So people who have played the game know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm even if she's not voicing the character, I'm still excited about this game. I think it's going to be cool. I love that universe and the characters that they created for that game, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what sort of story they come up with for this one.
Bender, any chance that obviously we just talked about Ashley Birch not being able to voice the character, also a new developer on this game too, right? This is not Don't Nod developing this. So any chance that with a new developer and a new voice cast that this game might miss the mark or not live up to what you expect from a Life is Strange game?
Yeah, there is a chance of that. I'm a little concerned about that because it's not the same people involved as the first one. Also, it's going to be a very different vibe, I'm sure, because it's not going to be about Max, which I've talked about this before. So that means it's probably not going to have any sort of time manipulation mechanics, which is one thing that drew me to the first game and made me want to play it in the first place. I came for the time manipulation mechanics. I stayed for the story and the characters, and that's what really made me love the game overall. So I'm a little concerned that it's going to turn out to be not as good as the first one, but I'm still excited about it. I'm still wanting to play it, and hopefully they do a good job and tell a good story.
I hope so too, man. I hope so too. And the last bit of news that we thought was worth mentioning, and it's probably the best news. I mean, if there's ever been a delay that we've all been hoping for, it's Metal Gear Survive has been delayed until 2018. One more delay, and let's get it to Below, okay? Let's get it somewhere alongside Below. Let's have them go dark. So yeah, the Metal Gear Survive, the cooperative zombie. Is it zombies? I don't even know what the hell this thing is.
Yeah,
something like that.
But
some kind of alternate reality zombie survival game.
So sadly, this has been delayed until hopefully late 2018. Where they can delay it again until 2050. So
yeah, I read this. I was like, delayed. I was like, who in the hell thought this game was coming out in 2017? Did they ever say anything about that?
Nobody. Nobody wants this game out in 2017 or 2018.
Yeah. Dude, in this stacked lineup of games we've had this year, yeah, Metal Gear Survive was on nobody's radar. So
Ideally, if this thing did launch in 2018, I hope it's like on the same day as like Halo 6 and Spider-Man. That would be perfect if it launched on that day. So, but we're gonna take a quick break. We got some music here from Ruel Ethan, and we'll be right back. And welcome back. Thanks again to Ruel Ethan for providing the music for this podcast. He does the opening, the closing, this intermission you just heard. Very talented young man. Follow him on Twitter at Ruel Ethan. Check out his music on SoundCloud and iTunes. All right, guys. Now first, we're going to jump into two things here. We're going to talk about our top 10 games of E3 2017, and then Bender's going to wrap us up with the E3 predictions results. But so first, our top 10 games of E3 2017. Ben, tell the listeners how we're going to approach this.
Yes, what we're going to do, we're going to each, obviously, a ton of great games seen this E3. So we thought it'd be fun to kind of go through and talk about our favorite things that we saw watching the show this week. So what we're going to do, we're going to run down each of our lists from 10 to 1, and we're going to tally up the results and create what's going to be our top 10 games of E3 as a short pause collective. So how it works is a first place game will be worth 10 points, and we'll move on down the line to the 10th game on your list will be worth 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end, we'll tally up the results. The game with the most points will be our number one game, and we'll just move down the list, so on and so forth. So as we're going through this here, we'll tally up the results, and then we'll have our top 10 games when all's said and done.
Cool.
I also have Frankie's list here as well, so Frankie will be a part of this as well. So we'll get his thoughts on all these games as well.
Cool. All right, Ben. Well, how about you start us off?
Cool. Well, I'm gonna start with my number 10 game, and it's actually gonna be Need for Speed Payback.
Ooh.
I talked about this when we were watching the conference. Was really, really impressed with what I saw. This game has Burnout vibes. It has Split Second vibes, which are two racing games I really, really like. I thought the cinematic crashes were awesome. It seamlessly went from crash to gameplay. There was no like jerkiness. It was a really slick production. The sense of speed was there. I'm not sure how the narrative and all that stuff's gonna play out.
I can
but,
tell you right now.
yeah, I could probably tell you as well. But outside of that, I know the story is probably going to be nothing to write home about. But I really liked what I saw. I love the high octane action racing that we saw from this game, and I was really really impressed by what they showed at the EA conference. So that's why I have it on as my number 10 game.
Mm-hmm. It's a good pick. How about Frankie Ayler? What'd he go with at number 10?
Frankie's number 10 game is Ashen. So a game we talked about earlier in the show, one that a lot of us have forgot even existed, came back, was a cool looking trailer. So Frankie slotted it at number 10.
Nice. Bender?
Before I start mine, I'm going to just quickly note that I did not include Uncharted, South Park, or Destiny 2 on my list because those are games I'm already sold on, although I was excited to see what I saw of those games. I put games on my list that I either did not know about prior to E3 or games that we saw significant stuff that sold me or made me more more excited about the game. So having said that, my number 10 is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Like we discussed earlier, I mean, I love the first game. Even though we only saw a brief trailer, it didn't show any gameplay. It was very not much that we actually saw. Just knowing that they're coming out with a sequel for that game, I'm super excited about that, and I can't wait to play that game. So that's going to be a good one.
Good pick. My number 10 is we didn't get to see much of this game, but some of the stories that came out afterwards piqued my interest greatly. Is Transference. Like I said, we don't know much about this game other than what we saw from the creepy trailer with Elijah Wood. But there were articles out there comparing this to PT in terms of how terrifying it is. And I tried not to read too many of the stories out there because a lot of them contain spoilers. But the fact that this game was drawing comparisons to PT and it's a VR game, yeah, I'm hyped for this one. But because we haven't seen a whole lot of it and we don't know a whole lot about it, I put it at number 10 just because that's pretty impressive considering we don't know anything about this game.
Yeah. What did you learn, if anything at all, Brent? Do we know? Is this? I guess we can assume it's a first-person game, and that's pretty much it at this point.
That's the only thing I would read from the articles that were out there, because like I said, a lot of them kind of went into they just described them as spoilers, and so I just avoided it at all costs. I don't know if it's just spoilery to the demo they played, or if it's a spoiler to the actual story that's going to be in the game when it comes out. I don't know. I didn't read anything because I didn't want to ruin it. But the fact that this thing was drawing comparisons to the PT is all I really needed to hear.
Yeah, I'm super intrigued by that one as well.
All right, number 9.
Real quick too, I want to also send a shout out there, like Bender mentioned. PlayStation had an 18-minute demo of Sundered on one of their streams one day, and that game looks just phenomenal. Just an incredible looking game. I seriously can't wait for that game next month. But I didn't put that one on my list because it's a game we've seen before. We've already seen a bunch of stuff about it. We've seen a bunch of video and trailers for it. But what I saw this week, that game is shaping up very nicely. Looks and plays incredible. The boss battles just out of this world. Can't wait for that game. So shout out to Sundered. But my number 9 game is Matterfall. This is a game that was not on the Sony stage proper, but it was part of the pre-show. We got a release date for it of August 15th. I've talked about my love for Housemarque earlier in the show. In this, Brent, I think you described it as Resogun as a 2D side scroller.
Yeah. And
that's kind of the vibe that you get from this. So it's to see Housemarque do a side scrolling like action twin stick platformer is pretty exciting. And from what I've seen of Matterfall, it looks great. The ability to kind of create platforms, that's the matter creation part of it. Just the fast-paced shooting. It's got all the hallmarks of a Housemarque game, and I get it kind of reminds me of when Future Lab went and did the side-scrolling portion for Velocity 2X.
Boom.
They kind of took a risk with that, and it worked out for them. So I think we can expect the same from Matterfall here. Really excited from what I've seen of that game.
Frankie's number 9?
Frankie's number 9 is Life is Strange Before the Storm. So we talked about it previously. It had a cool trailer, which fans like Bender and himself got excited about. So I know he's pumped for that game, and he thinks very highly of Life is Strange. So I hope that with the changes that are coming to this one, that it turns out for the best for you guys. But that's his number 9 game.
Very nice.
Bender?
Got a lot of variety in the list so far.
Yeah.
Haven't had any repeated games yet, so we'll see how it goes. My number 9 is A Way Out.
Yes.
I was very intrigued by what we saw from that game, from the same guy who brought us Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. Super unique idea, having a split screen game that's co-op, that you're both experiencing different things as you're playing at the same time, and sometimes you come together. I mean, you're both experiencing the same story, but from two different perspectives, and you're coming together at different times. Sometimes one of you is watching a cutscene while the other one is experiencing gameplay. You can play it online with the same split screen mechanic. I thought that was a super cool, unique idea. I hope it turns out to be a good story and everything. I'm sure it's probably going to be a relatively short experience when it's all said and done. But I'm really excited about that one, and I can't wait to see how it turns out.
Cool.
Absolutely.
My number 9 is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Obviously, like I mentioned before, this is a game that I'm really excited to have on the go. To play in handheld form, an epic, sprawling JRPG. I think this thing will do very well on the Switch. I'm just hoping it actually comes out this fall. I am with an agreement with Better. I expect this thing to get delayed, but no, this game just looks great. It looks like it runs great on the Switch. It's a beautiful world, and I think that's perfect for handheld play, man.
Cool.
Mr. Boyce, number 8.
My number 8 game is Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus.
Ooh, yeah.
Was really impressed by what we saw from the trailer. We saw the big cinematic intro, but when they cut the gameplay for the last minute or two of that trailer, that was like high octane, really really cool looking stuff. So the story looks like it's gonna be crazy, off the wall. Yeah, we have a Nazi occupied America that we're going to be going through, so that's interesting to see how that all is going to play out. But yeah, just the gameplay just looks great from what we saw at the end there, and that final scene we see in the trailer of the guy taking acid and the pregnant lady like stabbing the Nazi, and him the guy who dropped the acid trying to like get the little cartoon thing that's part of his hallucination. The game just looks crazy. So yeah, looks like it's going to be a great time. So Wolfenstein's my number 8.
Frankie's
number 8 is Monster Hunter World. So
Oh.
we talked about Monster Hunter earlier in the show. It's a game that the franchise a lot of us have not had a chance to really dive deep into. So it's one of those that could be a really fun experience with all 4 of us in there.
Cool.
Bender.
My number 8 is Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. This was a game that I did not know what to expect of it when coming into E3, but then when they showed it off, they sold me on it. I do want to pick up this game when it comes out. It looks like it's going to have some really cool turn-based strategy gameplay. It looks like it's going to be not just surface level stuff. It's going to be a deep mechanics in the gameplay, and plus looks like it's going to have a good sense of humor and everything along with it, with the rabbits and all that. So that was a really surprising game, and I'm looking forward to playing it. So yeah, that'll be my number 8.
My number 8 is Far Cry 5. We got to see just an absolutely batshit crazy demo at Ubisoft's press conference. The game looks gorgeous, looks ultra violent. Again, I'm curious to see how the narrative will play out. But purely from a gameplay perspective, this looks like it has all the hallmarks of a Far Cry game, like white hot action. It's going to be violent. It's going to be taut. The gameplay is going to be intense. So yeah, Far Cry 5 is my number 8 pick.
My number 7 is A Way Out. So
Hey.
Bender mentioned this earlier, and I agree with everything he said about the game. Just think this looks like this has the potential to be something really special. Joseph Ferris is really, really enthusiastic and passionate about this game, and he thinks he has something really special, so I'm kind of vibing off his enthusiasm. I think this could be something special as well. but this seems like the natural evolution of some of the stuff that I understand he explored in Brothers, which is a game I still haven't had a chance to play. But yeah, just this whole idea of this really cinematic experience in two people with their own motivations, their own personalities going through this gaming world, and occasionally they come together and occasionally they're not, depending on how the story plays out. I think it's a really, really interesting idea. Can't wait to play this game. Was really impressed with what I saw. So that's why I weigh out as number 7 for me. Franklin's is Assassin's Creed Origins.
There it is.
We know he's a huge Assassin's Creed fan. Origins looks great. It's got, from what we understand, influences from The Witcher. So this is destined to be a really, really sprawling epic. So I think that's a good pick for him.
My number 7 is Detroit: Become Human. We talked about it earlier. I liked what we saw of that game. It looks really super interesting with the different branching decision paths that you can have. I like the characters that they've shown so far. Looks like a really cool game. I've never played any of Quantic Dream's games before, but I'm definitely excited about seeing what this one turns out to be like.
Nice pick. My number 7 is Super Mario Odyssey. It's been a long time since I've actually played a Mario game all the way through. Like Mario 64 was the last time I spent a whole long time playing a Mario game. So obviously, the series has kind of passed me by, but I am excited to get back into this one. What we've seen in the trailers, there's a whole bunch of different worlds to explore. The gameplay looks really fun. So that's Super Mario Odyssey at number 7.
Nice. Number 6 for me is Days Gone. This is one, like I said, I like what I saw at Sony's press conference, but the reason it's on this list is because of the stuff I saw outside of it. So some of the other decisions that you can make as a part of this same story path or the same sequence that we saw during the event. The dynamic weather, hearing about some of the mechanics in the game, like how the Marauders hang up the freakers to kind of as a barricade to their camp. Because what happens is when the freakers get there, they're always hungry, so they stop to gnaw on the bodies, and that's how they know when they're like invading the camp. So it's like stuff like this, like these little world building things, these mechanics that are built into the game, I think are really exciting. And I saw a sequence where there was a freaker tied to a tree, and one of the Marauders was encountering him, and the guy shot an arrow or something and cut the rope that was tying him to the tree. And then the freaker came off, attacked the Marauder that was approaching him, and then as soon as he killed the Marauder, the guy came up behind the freaker and killed the freaker. So it was like he used like that, and so there was a really, really interesting sequence. But stuff like that I think is awesome about this game. There's a lot of potential in the story, in the characters, in the world, in the motorcycle elements. So I'm really, really excited to get a release date for this game and play what Ben's been working on for a really long time. And they've been developing this game for 5 or 6 years now, so they're putting a lot into this game. It's got a lot of potential. Can't wait to play it. Days Gone, number 6 for me. Number 6 for Franklin is Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. So obviously we talked about that. We had a great time watching that on the Bethesda stream. So no surprise that that's on his list here.
My number 6 is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I thought that game looked really cool. I've loved the first 2 games, even though I haven't finished either of them. They're
wow, even X. You said you had 200 hours in that one, right?
Yeah, I got all the way to the last boss battle, and I was like, I'm gonna have to go around and grind and get my level up a little because I couldn't beat him, and then I never went back. So I'm gonna have to go back and finish that one. Hopefully, I'll be able to do that before Xenoblade Chronicles 2 comes out. No, but they showed an extended gameplay trailer or gameplay demo of it or whatever after their thing was over during the treehouse stuff. It looked super cool. It looks like it has the same deep combat mechanics that the other games have, with like the topple and break and all those things that's going on with that. Yeah, all that stuff's still there. I like the look of the characters. I like the look of the game world. So I'm looking forward to exploring another huge sprawling world like they had. The world of Xenoblade Chronicles X was enormous, so I'm hoping this one is just as big and has just as many variety of lands and everything. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
Cool. My number 6 is Mario plus Rabbids. Literally zero interest in this game coming into E3. Zero interest in it. And then we see the XCOM, XCOM type gameplay. and immediately I was sold. And there's a lot of depth here from what we saw. Using your teammates to kind of jump to get extra squares to traverse the map. Lots of different abilities to use cover, destroy cover. This was nothing that I was expecting it to be, and I couldn't be more happy about it. I'm really excited to play this game. This looks awesome.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, that game had a good showing. It looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5 for me, and this is where we get obviously into the top 5. This was difficult to kind of work this out, the numbering order for this whole list, but especially in this top 5 here. So number 5 for me is Beyond Good and Evil 2. So obviously we didn't see any gameplay from this game. We don't even know how far along it is, but just the trailer that they showed, like, I want to be in this world. Like, I loved what I saw from this world, from the anthropomorphic animal characters to some of the resistance fighters that we met. I just thought it was an awesome trailer. It looks like an awesome world to be a part of. So I just can't wait to jump in there and be a part of it. Just from seeing what little we've seen of the game, like, that's a game that I want to play. Like, I was so excited for that world after I got done watching that trailer. I just I can't wait for that game to come out now. I just feel like it's probably going to be a while, but super pumped for that one. Beyond Good and Evil 2 is number 5 on my list. Number 5 for Franklin is Super Hot. Slash Super Hot VR coming over to the PS4. So obviously he loves Super Hot. That's a game that I think was on his game of the year list last year. But the fact that it's coming over to PS4, plus it's going to be on VR as well, I know he's excited about that. So no surprise to see that one at number 5 for Frankie.
Man, I'm gonna need to play that game. I never played it. Frankie seems to love it so much. Maybe I'll just wait till it comes out in VR and just play it that way.
There you go.
Okay, my number 5 is Super Mario Odyssey. I'm super excited about that game. It looks like it's going to be great. I liked the new stuff they showed off. They really demonstrated the hat mechanics, which, by the way, they call it capture. It's a pun. Get it? Capture.
I do get it.
They're clever.
Very clever.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that game. A new Mario game is always exciting, and I just love that they're going back to the Mario 64 style of Mario game with different worlds to explore. So I'm really excited about that one. So that is my number 5.
My number 5 is God of War. What we saw from this game just looked fantastic. Looked like more of the same from God of War, only a different setting. Kratos looks like a badass. The combat looks brutal. The enemies you face range from small to absolutely massive. I like the fact that they're bringing in Kratos' kid to kind of add some character to Kratos. He's not going to be so one-dimensional, hopefully. But as a father figure, it adds kind of a human side to Kratos, and I'm really excited to see where they take this franchise and how this new direction pans out.
I concur with all that, and that's why God of War is number 4 on my list for me. So we talked about it on the show here. Awesome trailer, awesome combat scenes, storyline seems like it's going to be awesome. Can't wait to see what they do with the Norse angle. So yeah, really, really, really excited for this game. Thought I had a great showing at E3 this year. For Frankie, number 4 is Super Mario Odyssey. Ooh. So a game obviously that's been showing up on a lot of lists today. This is great Mario game. We've all been anticipating it for a long time. Looks like it's turning out great. So number 4 for Frankie.
Very nice. My number 4 is Anthem.
There it is.
It's a game I had no clue what it was going to be. All we knew was it was going to be a new IP from BioWare. I love what they showed. It looks super exciting. It looks like a game that's right up my alley. It's got sci-fi. It's got cool weapons. It's got flying like Iron Man. all it's hitting all the right buttons for me. Plus co-op, plus the loot game. Excuse me. All that stuff looks really cool to me. So I'm super excited about Anthem. So that's why it's my number 4.
Number 4, A Way Out. Like you guys mentioned, the developer is very enthusiastic and passionate about this project. The reason this stands out to me is because this looks like this is going to take co-op to a new level. I mean, basically co-op for most games is you just jump in and you're with a friend. Gosh, Ben, what game was it we played recently cooperatively where we don't even show? Sniper Elite 4.
Yeah.
When you do co-op, your co-op partner isn't even a part of the story. He's not even there. And so, I mean, co-op is cool now. And I love how you can play games with friends, but this looks like it's going to make co-op integral to this. I mean, you have to play co-op. This game can only be played cooperatively. And the way the different scenes play out, how one guy could be in a cut scene while the other guy is playing, doing something else to further the story along. I think this just looks like a very unique take on co-op, and it's going to put co-op on a whole new level, and hopefully other developers will start following suit.
Hashtag include Harry Hawker.
Include Harry Hawker. Harry Hawker's a person too, damn it.
Absolutely. All right, we're getting into the nitty gritty here. Number three. Number 3 for me, Super Mario Odyssey. Game I thought had a great showing at E3. They showed a wealth of different areas in the game. The inventiveness that's on display in this game is really unparalleled. I mean, every little nook and cranny of this game has some type of secret or some type of thing to figure out and explore with it. There's all these cool mechanics with the hat and with the different worlds that you can explore, and this is just shaping up to be a really, really stellar game. Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine, I love that style of Mario. To see them go back to that here with Super Mario Odyssey, and to be able to find a new way to do it with what we've seen out of Super Mario Odyssey is really exciting. Can't wait to play this game come October. So, yeah, that's Mario Odyssey for me. For Frankie, number 3 is Spider-Man, a game which I'm sure we'll be talking about more on this segment.
Yep. Okay, my number 3 is Metroid: Samus Returns.
Ooh. Whoa.
Yeah. Yes. Oh. Between this and the Metroid Prime 4 announcement, the Metroid hype is real with me right now. And I'm really excited to see the return of Samus. So no pun intended. I'm really excited to see, to see her come back with some new games. Can't wait to play a new Metroid game. That's what I've been waiting for. So I was caught off guard by that, especially since they announced it during the Treehouse, not during the primary thing, the direct. So yeah, it was something that I didn't expect, and I can't wait to play it. So yeah.
My number 3 is Wolfenstein 2. I feel like Bethesda had two of the best trailers out of E3 with The Evil Within 2 and Wolfenstein 2. I mean, the way they blended in lots of story elements, lots of like cutscenes, and then also worked in a lot of gameplay that really showed off the games and what we can come to expect when they launch this fall. But Wolfenstein is one of my favorite games so far this gen. It's just an excellent shooter with a surprisingly awesome story. And from what we saw in the trailer here, they're going to take that. The trailer was crazy, but there is going to be some depth to this story. BJ is no longer a one-dimensional character. He's two and a half dimensional now, and that's it's impressive they can even get that out of a character like BJ Blazkowicz. So, yeah, Wolfenstein 2, really, really, really can't wait to play this game. That's why it's my number 3.
And we heard some of the press impressions too that have had some hands-on time with the game. That sounds like the story is still going to be paramount in this one. That it's coming along pretty good. So
awesome.
So that's awesome to hear. Number 2 for me is Anthem. So obviously a game we've talked about several times in this podcast already. We've talked about why it looks as excellent as it does, and so no surprise to see it here at number 2 on my list. Just really can't wait to play that game. Looks like it's going to be a hell of a time. And number 2 is actually Anthem on Frankie's list as well.
Nice. So. Cool deal. Okay, so
top 2, Bender.
Top 2. All right. Now, some people may not agree with me on this one.
Oh,
but my
boy.
number 2 is Shadow of the Colossus. This was an announcement that I did not expect. It came completely out of left field. But as far as like super hype, emotional E3 moments in my lifetime, this is one of the top ones for me. I love that game. I can't wait to play it again. It looked so beautiful, remastered, completely redone. The graphics looked amazing, and I'm happy that a new generation of gamers are going to have the chance to experience it. So can't wait to play that one. So yeah, it's number 2.
Nice.
Number 2 for me is Anthem. You guys have basically touched on everything we've had to say about Anthem. It just looks fantastic. I mean, it's a beautiful sci-fi epic. We're going to fly around like Iron Man. We're going to kill giant turtles, and we're going to explore beautiful worlds with our friends. There's nothing else really you can say about that. It sounds like a fantastic formula, and it's getting written by the same person that wrote Mass Effect 2, so we know the story's going to be there.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Number one, fellas.
Uh-oh.
No, number one for me, obviously, is Spider-Man. So no surprise here. Just was absolutely floored with that game. One of my all-time favorite E3 demos. It's up there with like the initial reveal of Watch Dogs, which I've always held as one of my favorite trailers ever at E3. Spider-Man will now sit proudly alongside that one. Just was absolutely floored by what we saw with this game. I mean, Brent, your Twitter avatar is me with my mouth open as I'm watching the trailer. So yeah, can't really say any more about it than that. It's my most anticipated game for 2018, bar none. Really, really can't wait for that game. Was super impressed by what we saw from Spider-Man. Frankie's number one may surprise you. It's Metro Exodus.
Ooh, nice pick.
His number one game. So we know he's a fan of the Metro series. He was really excited, super impressed by what was shown at the Microsoft conference, like we all were. So Frankie's number one game, Metro Exodus.
All right. And of course, my number one game is Super Lucky's Tale. No, just kidding.
Oh, plot twist.
Shock the world.
No, of course, it's Spider-Man. Yeah, Spider-Man looked amazing. Again, I did that again. Spider-Man looked awesome.
Spider-Man looked spectacular.
Yeah, it looked spectacular.
Looked sensational.
It looked ultimate.
Yeah.
It looked like the ultimate Spider-Man game. No, yeah, it looks super cool. Yeah, can't say enough about it. I was already excited before the E3, and now I'm even more excited now. So I can't wait to play Spider-Man.
Amen.
Yeah, there was no way Spider-Man wasn't going to be number one on my list. I mean, it was just an epic showing. I mean, it was a perfect way to close out the show. It looked fantastic. The way it blended cutscene with gameplay seamlessly. And like I said, even with QuickTime events, I was just like holding my breath the entire time he was chasing down that helicopter, catching cranes as they were falling, protecting civilians on the ground. It was a breathtaking demo. And yeah, it was easy. That's the number one thing I saw at E3 this year.
Oh yeah. Wonder what's going to be our number one overall.
It's gonna be
close.
Tough here. All right, let me tally everything up here and see where we stand.
So what do we got, boys? What do your numbers tell you?
All right, so obviously this was a great E3 for games. We saw a ton of great stuff, a lot of awesome titles that we can't wait for. I mean, we saw it in our lists. Our top 10 lists were varied, especially in the bottom 5 of each of those lists. A lot of different games that people were excited about. And there's a ton of games that we didn't even touch on in this list that we couldn't get to just because this was an extremely difficult list to make. Let's just put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So, like Bender mentioned, I think a lot of us had the same philosophy. Like, let's try and stick to the stuff that's kind of newer that we haven't seen a lot about, because games like Uncharted and games like Sundered and some of these other games that we've heard about, Shadow of War, these games had great showings, but we knew about them previously. So our official top 10 games of E3 2017 from the Short Pause crew is as follows. At number 1, Spider-Man, PS4, with so number 1, Spider-Man. Number 2, Anthem.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, Super Mario Odyssey. Number 4, Wolfenstein: The New Colossus. There's actually a tie here, but we'll go 5 and 6 because this game showed up higher on a few lists. God of War at number 5. A Way Out will come in at number 6. Number 7, by virtue of its first place finish on Frankie's list, is Metro Exodus. Number 8, by virtue of a second place finish on Bender's list, is Shadow of the Colossus. Number 9, Metroid: Samus Returns, also courtesy of Bender. And number 10 is Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Nice. It's a good list. I like it.
Yep. So Xenoblade just missed the cut.
Aw.
with 7 points. But that's our official list, fellas. How do you feel about it?
Strong. I like it. Varied and strong.
Think it's a pretty good indication of how we felt about the C3 and the games that we liked. So I think that worked out as planned.
I agree. Very good stuff. Now to the part of the show. Bender, you had the luxury of judging and scoring everybody's E3 predictions. It is time to unveil this year's champion.
Yes. The champion is no one because we all sucked this year.
I thought I made some good predictions.
Yeah. We all made some good predictions, but none of them came true.
Clearly, some of them did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got our 4 predictions plus JD wrote in, gave us some predictions as well, so I'll include him in this mix. Now we're doing the scoring a little bit different this year. We decided that if you do a multi-faceted prediction, you can get up to 3 points. If you do something that had 3 different pieces to the same prediction, if they all came true, you get 3 points. Even if you did more than 3, you can only get a maximum of 3 points. For each, if you don't get all 3, then you get a half a point for whichever ones you did get right. So that's how we're doing it. So I'll just go in order for how I have them written here. I'll start with mine. So my first prediction was that Nintendo would announce the Smash Brothers Switch port with all the DLC, and that would come out this year. I thought that was a slam dunk, but it did not happen. So disappointing. That is definitely still going to happen. I'm telling you right now, but I thought it was going to happen now at this E3. My second prediction that they would talk about Virtual Console. GameCube Virtual Console games would be announced, $20 each. Mario Sunshine being one of the first. None of that happened. That was a little more of a stretch, but I was hoping that they would bring that up. Now, my third prediction, the only one that matters, I predicted that a new Metroid game would be announced, developed by Retro in the vein of Metroid Prime. So they announced Metroid Prime 4. It is not being developed by Retro. So I got 2 out of 3, so that's 2 half points. That's 1 point total. My next prediction was that Animal Crossing would be coming to Switch, a game that would work with an upcoming mobile app. I thought that one was a pretty safe bet as well, but it still didn't happen. And my final prediction, because I couldn't think of anything else, was that Sony would be announcing a new Vita.
Should get -2 for that one.
That was a funny one.
Yeah. I should have thought a little bit harder on that one, but no, that of course did not happen. So my total is 1 point.
Oh.
Up next, Mr. Ben Boyce. Now, his first prediction was, except Gran Turismo, no Sony first-party titles will get release dates that will hit within this year. Now, I'm going to give you the point for that. Now, they did mention Knack was going to be coming this year, but it wasn't in the press conference. So I'm going to give you the point. Your second prediction.
Whoa. What?
It wasn't in the press conference. It wasn't part of the...
Also,
I'm filing a grievance, but go ahead.
Also, when I made that prediction, like the games I was thinking about was Spider-Man, Days Gone, God of War, like those games. Cool. I had honestly completely forgotten that.
Filing a grievance, but go ahead, filing a grievance.
Thought that was a solid prediction, dude.
Protesting. Go ahead.
It's not going to help you win, Brent.
Protesting. Go ahead. It'll help him lose. Protesting. Go ahead.
We're listening to the guy who hasn't scored an E3 point since Nam.
Okay, so Ben's second prediction was that Xbox Scorpio would be $4.99 minimum. That was indeed the price, so that's a full point. The third prediction was Pokemon Stars would be coming out for Switch this year. Now, they did announce that a new Pokemon game is coming to Switch. We don't know if it's Pokemon Stars or not, but it's not coming this year. So I gave you half a point for that.
Okay. I dig it.
Your next prediction was a new Splinter Cell game would be revealed. unfortunately, that did not happen.
Surprised you didn't get a half a point for that, Bender.
I'm not doing the scoring next year because I can't do anything right. The final prediction from Ben was From Software's next game would be revealed, and it would not be Bloodborne 2. That we did not see anything from them. All right, Mr. Felsing, you're up.
This is my favorite part of this segment.
So Brent's first prediction was that Xbox Scorpio would be $3.99 and would include a Game Pass membership.
Yeah, that was a good one, dude.
Thanks, man.
How'd that turn out for you?
I don't know. Bender didn't give me a half a point just because he felt bad. So
Your next one was Media Molecule will rebrand Dreams as a AAA PSVR title. I thought that was a good pick, but we did not see anything from Dreams at all, so we have no idea what's going on with that game.
dude, is there a legitimate concern with Dreams now, Ben?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been concerned for a while now.
I mean, I think an absolute no-show is a really bad sign.
I mean, we haven't seen Dreams at E3 in what, 2 years?
Mm-mm.
So I don't. Have we seen it at all in the last 2 years?
I thought it was at PSX last year. I thought there was a brief snippet of it.
I think Media Molecule did tweet that they were not going to be at E3 this year, but they were going to be talking about Dreams later in the year. So
when they
maybe
announced that it's been
maybe
canceled.
Gamescom or something.
Maybe Gamescom or PSX, possibly.
Yeah,
It's a possibility.
yeah. There's absolutely legitimate concern with that game, though. Media Molecule was at the PlayStation 4 reveal event, so 4 years ago. You know, they were there showing off a prototype of a Move game, which eventually it seems like what Dreams has become. So the fact that they're kind of toiling away, it's another one of those things like we talked about where that's a very tough sell. It's tough to describe what that game is to people and have people understand it. It's going to be tough for Sony to market it. So yeah, I don't know what's going to become of that game.
So moving on here, the next one was that Blue Point will be remastering the Resistance games. I'm glad you were wrong about that because that turned out to be Shadow of the Colossus.
Shouldn't I get a half a point?
For what?
I don't know. Help me out.
Half a point because Blue Point is a company that exists.
Yeah.
Brent gets the participation medal at the end. He gets a half point just for playing.
There you go.
Your fourth prediction was that Star Wars Battlefront 2 will feature a new VR mode that uses the AIM controller. I was hoping that was going to be true.
Damn it.
That did not turn out to be true. Maybe it still will. We'll see. And finally, Sony is finally going to roll PS Now into PS Plus. No talk about either of those.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Sorry, Felsen.
I mean, seriously, Fauci, have you ever scored a point in our E3 prediction segment?
I think
Didn't I
2
s- I
years
thought-
ago, I think you got
Yeah.
half a point.
Yeah. Hey, I'm bold, all right? I make bold predictions.
Think about that last sentence. 2 years ago, you may have got half a point.
Largely irrelevant.
I know
since.
last year he didn't get any points either, so yeah.
Man,
Shut out.
the donut, 2 years running.
I feel like I need like a Gamescom prediction show and a PSX prediction show. I gotta start getting some points, at least 1 point a year.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to move on to Frankie. Frankie's first prediction was that Sucker Punch would announce a Black Panther game. That was a bold prediction that did not happen. We still don't know what Sucker Punch is working on. Man, I want to know what they're doing.
Thinking maybe PSX this year then.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah.
Shuhei was saying they held back some exclusive reveals. So sounds like maybe later this year.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait to see what they're working on. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
Frankie's second prediction was that Hellblade would be announced as Sony's Available Now release. Unfortunately, it was released before E3. It was not their Available Now release, so I can't give him a point for that. His third prediction was Bethesda will announce Evil Within 2. That actually did happen, so he gets a point for that. Frankie's fourth prediction was Shadow of the Tomb Raider will be revealed at the Xbox event. We did not see that game anywhere. Frankie's final prediction, which I'm calling epic release date prediction in all caps.
This is BS right here.
So, first part was Spider-Man, God of War, and Dreams would be in Q1 2018. He got half a point for God of War for early 2018. Spider-Man just said 2018, not early or Q1, so you can't give him anything for that. Dreams wasn't there at all. Then the next part was Mario Odyssey and Days Gone in October. He got a half a point for Mario Odyssey in October. Detroit in December, nothing for that. Crackdown 3 on Scorpio's launch. He nailed that one, so he got half a point for that. So Frankie's total is 2.5 points. Okay. Ben's total was 2.5 points.
It's under protest, but yeah.
So that is a tie. Now,
Jeez.
Before we finish this up, though, I am going to move on to JD's predictions that he wrote into us. His first prediction was that Microsoft will announce a first-party exclusive third-person action game, not a shooter and not third-party. So that's very specific, but Microsoft did not show off anything first-party that we didn't already see, nothing like that. So we can't give him anything for that. His second prediction was Scorpio would be between $3.99 and $4.49. So no, sorry on that one, JD. The third one was Elder Scrolls 6 will get a trailer and a release window coming in 2018. We did not see anything from Elder Scrolls 6. The fourth one was Nintendo will show the new Legend of Zelda handheld game, or at least the Zelda game that they are working on. It might come out on both Switch and 3DS. We did not see anything about a new Zelda game, so nothing there. And his final one was Scorpio will play Windows-compatible PC games. And he goes into detail. These games will have sliders and or might just be optimized in-house by Xbox for the platform. So basically, if Windows has access to Xbox Play Anywhere games, then Xbox will have access to Windows games. That was a stretch, but it didn't happen. Sorry, JD, no points for you.
It's all right, buddy.
But
it's cool at the bottom.
But everyone should definitely listen to the Play and Listen Gaming podcast. It's good stuff. So yeah, this year we have a tie.
For now.
Ben Boyce and Frankie. If anyone agrees with Felsing, if any of our listeners want to write in and dispute this, then feel free. Let us know. We'll look into it.
Write in, everybody. Get your emails out. It's real simple. At podcastshortpause.com or podcast@shortpause.com and just simply write, no, Ben should not get any points. And that's all you got to write in.
Dude,
and if we get a total of one email, it goes into effect.
Frankie got his spaghetti on the wall prediction where he literally just threw out as many things as he could and whatever stuck.
Well, okay, he would have even if he got all 7 of those, he would have only gotten 3 points for that.
Yeah.
That would have been the maximum. So we are abiding by the rules here that we had laid out. So
Bender,
yeah.
you are the judge, jury, and executioner, and you have spoken. So let it be written. So let it be done.
I just feel better if it's a tie, and that way nobody's mad at me.
Oh no, dude! I'm already pissed at you, but it's under protest. We'll talk about it
any
next
points
week.
anyway.
We're gonna review things.
Brent's still mad he didn't get that half point for Blue Point.
Yeah, I don't think Bender heard me correctly on some of my picks, but it's okay. Like I said, Xbox $4.99, possibly Games Pass. So I should have got a half a point. You said $3.99. I don't know where you got $3.99 from, but that's going to do it for this week's show. Frankie Ayler was not able to make it this week. Obviously, he'll be back after the 4th. He's taking care of some stuff. So let's close it out, guys. Ben, where can we find you gaming and tweeting?
As always, Brent, you can find me not tweeting at Piccolo930. Of course, that's my PSN ID as well, Piccolo930. That's where I'm at on the Switch as well. And a friendly reminder that the Tuesday Night Indie Spotlight is every Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern, on our YouTube channel. This week we'll actually have a Monday night stream with Nex Machina. Not sure if we'll do anything Tuesday this week because we're doing Nex on Monday. Maybe we'll fire up Nex on Tuesday as well. We'll see. But
maybe we'll go back to Victor Vran. We had a lot of fun with that one.
Yeah, we should do some more Victor Vran, actually. That's a sweet game. So, yeah, that'd actually be sweet. Nex on Monday, Victor Vran on Tuesday. I'd be down with that.
Mr. Holt.
You can find me on Twitter at Binder_guitar, on Xbox Live and MeBinder82, on PlayStation Network and Nintendo Network. It's me_Binder, and I have nothing else to plug.
You can find Frankie Ayler on just about everything. Viper Strike, real simple. You can find me on Twitter at TheDude1979, Xbox Live, TheRealDude79, PlayStation Network, and Nintendo, TheDude79. Make sure you visit the website, www.shortpause.com. Follow the website on Twitter at TheShortPause. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Short Pause Gaming. All of our videos going up there, the Tuesday Night Indie Spotlight, Next Machina. A lot of streams go up that way. Or you can also check out our Twitch channel, which is now changed to Short Pause Gaming as well. It used to be Short Pause Live. Now that is Short Pause Gaming, so it's easier to find. So subscribe there. We're also on Mixer. If you like this podcast, if you really like it, go over to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, write out a nice review. If you don't like the podcast, if you got some concerns, that's okay. Come over to the website, go into the comments of the podcast post, let us know your thoughts, or send us an email, podcast@shortpause.com. This show will only get better if we hear from you. We need your feedback, whether it doesn't matter how brutal it is. It's the only way we'll get better is if we hear from you. So podcast@shortpause.com. You can find this podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, and Google Play. Well, for Mr. Holt, Mr. Boyce, I'm Brent Felsing. Thanks again for listening and watching the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. We'll talk to you next week. Good night, everybody.
All right.
See you guys.